Good evening, everybody. Thursday night, it's the round table night. Introducing loads of what ifs from you. That is the basic idea, where you get to have your say in what potentially could become content. I am joined, as always, by Haverok.
Hello.
And now returning with a much more stable internet connection this time, Sophie B.
Hello, everyone.
Yes,
good to be back.
We have a full house this week. And yeah, so for those of you who don't know, this is the What If Round Table, where the three of us who we feel are somewhat experts at what-ifery, basically take in your requests and questions, and you leave them as a super chat, and we get to them. And the reason why we do this is it helps support the channel, so it means we can keep going through all this tumultuous times, especially with recent events. And basically just kind of get some good ideas we can share in what you might think is a good idea. And also, you never know, Haverok and Sophie and I, we're always taking notes and observing, so your idea could eventually become a video if it really catches our attention. So do go for the moon, as that old song goes. But yeah, so all you need to do, leave a super chat and your what if, and we will get to it. And the reason why we do that is because the chat does go by very quickly. It just means that we have things that we've got things covered. All right.
But we do read the chat, even if it's not super chat, so don't be worried. We do it afterwards or during.
Yes, exactly. So we do that. Super Spork, thank you very much for that instant what if super chat right there. But let's start off with Red Dragon Force 2, and he apologizes in advance, saying that he's going to have to miss this one. However, I will watch this in archive and write down a few suggestions for what ifs for the next stream. Oh, okay. And also, happy birthday to Augustus Abrams' father. Oh, that's cool. Well, we say happy birthday to Augustus's father too.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Merry birthday. All right. Doing it in two. Alright, but our first full what if is from Podo. Remember my Grand Priest Immortality wish permission what if from 2 streams ago? What would his interactions with Garlic Jr. or Never Turned Good Vegeta be like?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, okay, Haverok, you sound very mirthful. Go for it.
Excuse me, little creature. Why should I grant you immortality? If you want to be a guardian of Earth, then you have to prove yourselves if you want the power of Kami. After all, even the Kami doesn't have immortality. Oh, what's that? You just want to usurp him? Nope.
I get the feeling that a lot of conversations with the GP would just end up with him going, nope. Oh,
Since when do the Dragon Balls require permission in order to use them?
Since I said so. Bye.
Since like 5 minutes ago when you decided to make a wish. Bye.
You gave me the idea. Thank you so much for that. Oh, man. I've got a what if coming up like next month. I've been getting really far ahead because we're off to Iceland next month. So I'm getting a good buffer down. And it's to do with Olibu getting in there. That's why I tweeted about him today. And it was just like between him and Whis. And because Olibu's so polite. And I feel like Whis would just go, oh yes, I like you. I like you. You're so polite. You're so nice. I get the feeling that's what Whis would say. Anyway, let's carry on. Dalen64. What if future Trunks got stuck in the past during Z? After the fight with the androids on the highway, Trunks noticed a capsule containing his time machine got smashed. How would that affect the story? Okay, so this is kind of like an evolution of the one I did with what if Trunks was stuck in the past. That time, he was stuck in the past between him giving the warning and the Cell games. So this one would be like, okay, let's say he cannot go back. I'm going to have to do 2 scenarios for this one. So first off, give it a moment. It's warming up. It didn't... It was not... There we go. That's for the future, because basically, there'd be no one to stop the androids. The androids would probably get bored. They wouldn't destroy the planet, but they would be they'd get very, very exhausted and bored, and they just go off and wander off somewhere. Pretty much. That's what would happen, but not before destroying the world. But in terms of Trunks being around, I feel like that would give Gohan some motivation to keep training. So I feel like either that, or I feel like Trunks would end up like taking on the Bastion as Defender of Earth once it becomes clear that Gohan's starting to slack.
I think initially he might try to go into more solitary way, like to seem to be like he's more
go on a pilgrimage.
Loner. Yeah. But I think the Z fighters will try to apprehend him and recruit him earlier, which I don't know how could it work with his relationship with Vegeta, and how would Vegeta and Bulma end up in that scenario.
You know what? I think Vegeta would actually get it. I feel like everyone's going like, and then Vegeta would say, "I can understand what he's doing. He's trying to discover his power. I can relate to that." That would be some kind of common kindred spirit, almost.
That's an interesting little thing.
Yeah.
An interesting little thing with Trunks getting stuck in the past is that it actually presents a good opportunity for Vegeta to get over his issues and stick to it. If Trunks stays in the past, like his time machine gets broken during the Cell Saga, and so he can't return to his own time, that would pretty much mean that Vegeta could shift his focus away from Goku and onto his son. Yeah. And it would leave Vegeta feeling more fulfilled than he is at the time of the Buu Saga in canon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Minimal chance for the margin of Vegeta to happen. A chance, but much less of one. They'd have to be, Babidi would have to really, really dig deep for that one.
And he would, he would fight two Trunkses, but it would be kind of funny if, present Trunks was jealous of future Trunks because he was getting more attention from Vegeta, which could be a point.
That is very true.
Oh yeah, definitely could.
Well, by the way, let's get the likes up, people. Let's get that to 100 likes. So while we're doing that. Quantum DeLorean is next. What if Goku was human, and how would it affect Dragon Ball? Well, if you're talking about the original Dragon Ball, it wouldn't really affect it at all, because everyone thought he was human. He was just a human with a monkey boy tail. So the perception, the only difference is that they would have to find some other way of escaping Pilaf's castle, because you didn't have the giant monkey powers.
And if you're talking in the meta sense, you have to consider all of the retroactive Zenkai boosts he would have gotten after Toriyama had declared him to be a Saiyan.
Yes.
So honestly, probably around the time of the King Piccolo saga, if they managed to, still defeat Pilaf, defeat the Red Ribbon Army and stuff like that, around the time of the King Piccolo saga, it probably would have meant doom for Earth.
Yeah. I mean, we won't play the sound, but I think you guys get the idea. All right. Dalen64 says, "Fun fact, take this with a grain of salt, my source was Wikipedia. In an interview with Toriyama, he stated that the Ox King and Yamcha are the best cooks in the universe." You know what, Dalen? If you watch today's discussion, you know that basically whatever Toriyama says needs to be taken with a grain of salt. This isn't just this fact. Anything that Toriyama says, you need to kind of just go, okay. Because in the discussion, and Haverok found this, was that basically people go, how come Krillin has no nose? Oh, he has a physical idiosyncrasy, which means he can breathe through his skin. So basically, he considers Krillin an earthworm, because earthworms breathe through their skin. And I'm like, I'm not joking, Sophie. This is what we found. And my reaction in this video is like...
Earthworm Krill. Earthworm Krill.
We think he's money fine.
Earthworm Krill.
A hero for all time, and also my best friend. It's like...
We need a fan art of Earthworm Krill.
Oh my gosh.
He just finds the suit and go, woo! New suit! Alright, Vulcans. Next, what if Goku married Suno? Timebreaker Gohan? Well, I feel like if Goku married Suno, it'd be a very laid-back marriage. It'd be a very laid-back relationship as a whole, because Suno likes Goku a lot. And also, she gets him, in a way, and just, like loves him for who he is, in a way. That crush. That's what drew her to him. So I feel like it'd be a so much more mellow relationship, much more cohesive. And I feel like
I'm curious how the what if the questioner asks if that particular what if would lead to Time Breaker Gohan.
Yeah.
What in the world causes Time Breaker Gohan to come out of that?
Well, maybe if it's just like something like more something that make it a bit more perilous, add some peril to that relationship in a way. I don't know, maybe. Anyway.
I do think he might be stronger because he'd have been allowed to train at an earlier point in his life.
Not by much, but I would say a good 5-10% stronger. Could make the difference. Dark Cloud Alpha. What if Jarko trained like Goku? April Fool's what if? Yes, of course. We are trying to search for an April Fool what if idea because I am actually struggling because I'm not too sure about what to do. So I'm open to ideas. But with Jarko trained like Goku, first off, that is beyond impossible because Jarko's. We don't know whether Jarko's people can get much stronger than him. Also, he'd have to have a complete and utter change of mood. I mean, granted, in our Boxer Goku at Capsule Corp, Jarko does change for the better. He does. But that was a very, very different reason for that happening. So...
And, like, Jarko is not that weak in the grand scheme of things. He's just a massive coward. But, like, he probably could beat, some of the regular Saiyan troops, which might not be big in the sense of the Dragon Ball saga, but in terms of the Dragon Ball universe, like it's not that bad. Like he's not very weak. We don't know what his full potential is.
Yeah, he's not beyond a joke or anything like that. He's not a joke in that regard. That's true. Recon's next. Hey guys, what if Kami and or Piccolo decided to expand the Namekian race on Earth? Not like King Piccolo's children per se, but actual Namekians. Yeah, we did talk about this last week, and much like how it is in some of the Xenoverse games, I believe that they would just almost like terraform a section of Earth, like out in the sticks, like to make it resemble somewhat like Namek. So they would just do what they do on Namek, like farm, have some villages. It would just be on Earth, really. But also, it may mean 2 sets of Dragon Balls.
Oh, great! Twice the opportunities for things to go wrong.
Yeah, the stakes being even half the height. Great, huzzah!
That honestly makes me consider what the Shadow Dragon arc would have been like if they'd been the Namekian Dragon Balls and not the Earth Dragon Balls that got corrupted.
Well, if the Namekian Dragon Balls were around, they could easily just fix it. Yeah.
Well, what I mean is, if the abuse had come from overuse of the Namekian Dragon Balls, like say in this what if where the Namekians are living on Earth, like what would happen if they became overfull of negative energy, knowing that they're more powerful than the Earth Dragon Balls are? What kind of shadow dragons would come out of there?
And in GT's timeline is still possible because okay, we overuse our Dragon Balls. What do we do? Do we behave like responsible adults? No, let's tire out the other one.
Oh, that's a big oof right there, Sir Captain. All right, next up, Chris G. What if Chaozu had stopped King Piccolo's wish? Well, if basically King Piccolo's wish was done, then eventually, I mean, King Piccolo, even when he was older, he was still pretty strong. You'd have still had the round 2 situation, but the world would have been in nowhere near as much peril. It would have been quite localized, like most Z arcs are. Like a lot of them barely touched the society. I mean, yeah, the Saiyan Saga took out, a city and stuff like that. But we're not talking about like world domination here. So I feel like if Chaozu did it, that would be a very, very good use of his character. And very apt from the discussion that we had today. Interesting.
Yeah.
Paparacha, in with the first one from him today. What if Namekian fusion wasn't permanent? Ooh. If it wasn't permanent. Well, actually, I think there is a factoid that now that we know that that Namekians can defuse, they can fuse and defuse, because with Salnel and Pimina, they fused their Namekian, like 100 Namekians together as a temporary measure for the Tournament of Power, I believe.
I mean, you know, they can diffuse, there's very easy solution for that, DragonBallZ.
Well, the Tournament of Power basically basically brought this to light by basically going, oh, it's just because they choose to. And actually, it is kind of true, because you do need permission from both parties to make the fusion work in the first place. That's why, because Piccolo's like, I don't want to fuse with you, Nail. I'll lose my personality. And he only did it because that means he could be the dominant one. Yeah, Piccolo ain't no sub. Yeah, he ain't one of those. There you go.
Oh
So,
my
in a way,
god.
Paparacha, Namekian fusion isn't permanent in a way. It's just, it's between two consenting adult Namekians. That's just the
Now,
way
if
it
you
goes.
mean if there was like a hard time limit, like say on Potara or Menmori fusion,
Okay.
more or less, I think all it would mean is that Nail would wind up becoming his own separate character, probably stay as the guardian of like the Namekian peoples, but Kami and Piccolo refusing together would be permanent since they were originally part of the same person. So you'd still wind up with like a Kamikolo. You just wouldn't have the Nail aspect of the character inside of them anymore.
True.
With Nail, I think with Nail being additional character, we could as well have a small group of Namekian on Earth before.
Nail in the Tournament of Power.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes, we need him and more in it. Paparachas again with, what if Chichi married Chaozu? Well, I believe it'd be a very egalitarian household. Because they both
They would have a restaurant.
They'd have a restaurant, they both cook. You know. Yeah, it's Monday.
Chaozu is good with business, so Chichi would be happy because, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how it would work with children because I don't know if Chaozu can reproduce.
He'd find a way. He'd find a way. You know, but he'd definitely be a smooth talker.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way, indeed.
That right there is called pokephilia. You don't want to do that.
It's like, yo, your Chaozu got very close to you.
Oh no.
Anime Guy 01. April Fool's What If? What if Garlic Jr. turned good? Oh man! Oh!
You know what?
You know what? This
is good.
That's a strong candidate.
Yeah.
That is a strong candidate for April Fool's What If.
I hate this I hate this What If idea. It's perfect.
Thanks. I hate it.
Thanks. I hate it. No, Anime Guy 01. Seriously, thank you for that suggestion. That's not a bad idea. Unity, we do have a buffer, so I did see that you did make a super chat. If you just be patient, we will get to you. But yeah, Anime Guy, good job. Belle Chloe, what if Frost achieved Golden before the Tournament of Power? Okay, well, if he did get Golden before the Tournament of Power, I feel like he'd still be weaker than Frieza. But I feel like almost in a way...
he wouldn't get the true Golden Frost.
No, it wouldn't be true Golden Frost. You know, you just get Frost... You get Frieza says, oh, excellent. I'm glad that you were able to solve this as well. I'm glad it wasn't just me. Oh, by the way, did you figure out the stamina problem?
What?
Stamina problem? It's basically like, yeah, you might want to look that up. You just get an Iron Man situation.
And he knocks him up.
Oh, no, wait. Because they're Frost Demons. Did you figure out that icing problem?
Oh god.
And you might want to look that in. Bonk.
Yeah.
Hannah Rowan. What if Jalko was in Dragon Ball, meeting Goku following his first tournament when he went to visit Bulma in the city? Okay, well, it's sort of what we're doing with the Capture Corp What If. Sort of. In that we feel like Jalko, in a way, trusts Goku with doesn't trust him, has a lot of suspicion about the monkey because he's obviously a Saiyan. But I feel like if Jalko actually kept observing Goku and realized that he's actually not that bad, he'd back off. But he wouldn't let them know that. He'd say, I'm keeping my eye on you, Saiyan he probably would rumble that he's a Saiyan. Like, basically, because everyone would say, why do you keep following us? Well, it's because you are a no good for nothing monkey from the planet Vegeta. You are a Saiyan. Am I what? Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. I've just caused myself so much more trouble and blasted paperwork.
And I sounded a bit like Frieza for a moment.
No, well, Jocko gets that when he's stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically, he'd spill the beans about the Saiyan heritage a bit sooner, in a way. All right, Steve Hartley. What if the Red Ribbon Army was good? Well, even if they were good, I'd feel like Capture Corp and Red Ribbon Army, there'd still be a rivalry there. It'd be a much better spirited rivalry for innovation and technology.
I would say they wouldn't be called Army in the first place. They would be the Red Ribbon Army Company or something even nicer.
The Red
Ribbon Army, Red Ribbon Foundation.
No, the Red Ribbon Corp, pretty much.
Yeah, they're Red Ribbon Corp. The Red Ribbon Army is itself just the primary, the private military faction of
division.
Red Ribbon Corp.
It's their armed division. That's
exactly.
Yes, exactly. Or Red Ribbon Industries. Pretty much. All right, Darren Hardy's next. Finally, I can watch a live one. Just had to take a week off. Oh, cool, Darren. Good to see you back. What if Gohan's class had to go to Capture Corp and he found them new personnel? He knew them personally. What if Gohan class had to go to Capture Corp and found out he knew? Oh, okay. So basically, if like he knew that they go to Capture Corp for a field trip, and they go and like, oh hey Boma, how's it going? Oh well, they think he's cool. I think that would give him extra brownie points because Capture Corp at this point is pretty much the only major company that matters on the planet at the time of the Boo Saga. So if he did, I think nobody would dare, because I think Bulma would actually play up with this. It's like, hey Gohan, any of your friends giving you trouble? I could put a hitman on them. I could put a hit on them if they're not careful.
Oh my god.
She would totally help him. Like saying, you know.
She would try, but it would probably be very embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, but you know, it would still get the point across. Don't mess with Gohan. Alright, Hannah Rowan. What if the androids in Super Android 13 were canon, and Jerome made a whole army of androids, even abducting and brainwashing Ada, upgrading him too? You get Android 8 squared. Android 8
I mean, technically they are canon. We don't know how they look in the main canon, but they existed. They had to exist because they had to be androids 1 through 7.
Yeah, exactly.
And 9 through
12.
9 through, yeah.
And
12.
then 13, 14, 15. So technically they do exist. So they do exist in a way. Column. I finally think I have one you can't dismiss in a couple of words. What if Chichi passed giving birth to Gohan? Oh, okay. The Column, the thing is that a lot of what ifs, you can end pretty quickly. But with this one, I feel like if Chichi did pass, I feel like Goku would be sad, and I think he would struggle a lot trying to be a single parent. I mean, one thing for sure, Gohan wouldn't be a bookworm.
I think that he would go for Bulma to help her with Gohan's education, and I think he would be more invested parent because, like,
he'd have to.
Again, like to get out of the myth, Goku bad father, Goku good father. Goku isn't the worst father in Dragon Ball. He isn't the best one. He's trying as much as he can in his Goku's mind.
Yeah, as we've said quite a few times, for Saiyan, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that you have to compare with.
Yeah. So the thing to consider is I think he would be much more invested and might even go a little protective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he would go for help to his friends to help him raise the kid.
Yeah.
I think it would be almost like. It would be almost like they would raise him in a communal setting, because like he he wouldn't feel secure in his ability to raise an infant all on his own, and so like he takes Gohan to Kame House, and so Roshi and Yamcha and Krillin and Bulma and Launch, because we're not going to forget Launch, unlike Toriyama, all have a part in raising him. I could even imagine Launch getting particularly attached to Gohan, and becoming sort of his surrogate mother after a fashion.
I can imagine that. Yeah, probably her first exposure to a baby, especially within her close-knit friendship circle.
Yeah.
So I feel like, all right, nobody gonna get any hold of him. I get the hold of him. Yeah, if she's holding him and everyone wants to say, "Hey, back off!" Back off.
We've been getting this one quite a few times, so I'm really strongly considering it.
Yeah.
It's somehow.
Okay. Cinematic Middleton, thank you very much for your contribution. JRC, what if future Bulma made a Bloodstone machine for Trunks instead of the time machine? Maybe Vegeta explained the Ozaru form to her before the battle. Okay. Well, if she did, it depends whether Trunks would want to. But I think at this point he would be desperate enough to try anything. And since it's his mother who made it, he would struggle for control. Yes, of course. Because he'd have to train himself how to control it. You know.
Yeah.
It'd be a very, very tumultuous thing, and they couldn't do it in the city because it would attract too much attention.
It may also not be a good solution in the slightest. Possibly even sound required in this case, because if it wasn't enough power to defeat the androids, Trunks would almost certainly be killed. And even if it was, there's a distinct possibility that he could lose control and wind up killing a lot of people and hurting a lot of people otherwise. And I don't think that he would do well in that scenario. The guilt of that and everything else. And I think it would cause more problems than it helped.
No, I'd say so. Alright. Master Riku. What if Piccolo Jr. was good from the start? Well, the thing is, though, Piccolo Jr. is sort of good, in a way, in comparison.
He doesn't know it yet.
No, but he does show examples of mercy very early on. Like, much more so than what his father could do. He was on the road to goodness right from the moment he was born, pretty much. But if we're talking just... Well, then basically those that farmer couple that found him, he probably would just stay with them, in a way, for at least a lot longer than before.
Which means that things are going to be a lot different once Raditz shows up.
You did it wrong. You did it wrong. No, you're kidding. But we get you. Yeah.
Hey, I'm rusty, okay? I've missed a week.
It's all good, don't worry. But yeah, no, it'd be a very interesting development in a way. For the fact that Piccolo Jr. It would mean for the 23rd tournament, you know, they would all assume that he was bad. But then, yeah, Piccolo would just be like, talk to Kami, through Hero. And basically just go like, and then it'd be a very fascinating conversation. And I think, Kami would be the one to say, I found something very interesting with this one. It turns out that he is nowhere near as sinister as his father was. It'd be a very interesting development, certainly. And really,
indeed,
yeah. And when he would fuse with, I think, he would take when he would take Gohan to train, I think people would trust him more because he.
I would say that, like, the one thing that kind of I would a little bit disagree in this scenario is that Kami would be particularly biased against Piccolo Jr. because it's personal. Like, he considers him to be a part of his bad side, and even if he was as wise as Kami was, like, he was kind of biased anti-Piccolo.
I would still say that he was very. I would say that he it would certainly be a very conflicted thing.
Yeah.
And it would also show the flawed side of Kami in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Dark Snake X5. Hey Masako, what if Vegito used the DragonBallZ to turn his wipes into a permanent fusion like him? And she becomes a version called Bolchi. Ah, yes! I've seen this many times on the internet.
Another one for the FAQ.
I've seen images of this happening, and basically Potara versions of the same couple. Great. Well, okay, granted, it would solve the problem of two fusions, but there's no guarantee that this Bolchi would actually go with Vegito. That's the thing. There's no guarantee. Yeah. There's no guarantee whether she'd actually let him do and be submissive. There's no guarantee about that. Two strongly willed women in that fusion. Oh, I feel like Vegeta's about to get dunked.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that feeling. But yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about here, yeah, just go look online. You'll see the level of...
Be careful when you do.
Yeah, no, be careful, but you'll see the level of the widespread musings of this particular what if, I will say. Alright, Yurei T. What if Gine got with Yamcha? Just a thought. Since it's part of my alternative universe, then I made a fan kit for them. And what if my got with Yamcha? It's a part of my other alternate universe. I made a fan kit for them too. Well, I'm glad that you've gotten Yamcha some actual, attention. That's fair credit.
Someone likes Yamcha.
Somebody likes Yamcha, exactly. And that is okay with us. Well, if Gine got with Yamcha, I feel like just his positive mental attitude would actually be very good for Gine. Yeah, it would bolster her up in a way. And I feel like in terms of training, if they did train, I think Yamcha would actually get some good gains from it. And he would stumble upon this power, of course. Like, if they had an argument, and Gine slaps him, and, like, basically he goes through a wall, and he goes like, whoa, where'd you get that? And, like, you have to, oh my god, you're so cool! Yeah, and they train. Basically, it would be, they discover it purely by chance, in a way. That kind of thing. And with Mai getting with Yamcha, if it were Mai, I feel like it'd be a way, that would be an interesting idea, actually. Basically, driving her away from the Pilaf gang, and I feel like it would struggle without Mai. With Pilaf and Shu, I think they would struggle if Mai was not on their side anymore. It'd be very interesting kind of like love triangle between Pilaf, Yamcha, and Mai.
It's like if Jesse decided to suddenly quit Team Rocket. Like,
yeah.
It's just not the same anymore.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Bartson, what if Dr. Giro was good? The Android Corps, with Boma his daughter and Dr. Briefs was evil. We've talked about this before, I think. Basically, if Dr. Giro was good, he would basically instill what he'd already been trying to do before, and that is the betterment of humankind through technology. That was his ultimate goal. He just did it via mad scientist ways, is all.
Again, less kidnapping kids, more adopting them, giving them homes, stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's pretty much
striving to invent something that would remove the need for like material objects and stuff like that. Basically, like a good guy, Dr. Giro, is the guy who's trying to lead into like the Star Trek future of everything's fine and perfect.
Make it so.
And with Bulma as his daughter, I feel like in a way it'd be something along those lines with Bulma his daughter. You'd have that similar thing if Bulma was just wholesale the same person. And with Dr. Briefs, I feel like in a way there'd be that intense rivalry. Dr. Briefs is not an inherently evil guy, but I feel like he'd be the much more underhanded rival company, in a way. That's how it would go. Alright, Solus 1. What if Broly went to Earth instead of Goku?
Another one for the FAQ.
This one said quite a few times. We'll keep this short, though. In short, basically, if Broly did, the first sign of him having a hissy fit, the world would be basically scorched. It would be flamed.
There's a nice word for it, for those of you guys that know anything about Warhammer 40k, Exterminatus.
Well, there you go. Alright, Nick Wolf next. This one's for Sophie. What if, after studying Goku's Stork Egg, that's the same pod, Bulma developed nanites so he could access higher brain functions while in Ozaru at the 21st Budokai?
See, now there's an interesting little thing there, though, is because you're making a lot of assumptions that the technology she could glean from the stork egg would lead to nanite technology, which, as far as I'm aware, the Saiyans did not have, and as also well, as far as I'm aware, they didn't have technology for like helping lower class Saiyans to control their Ozaru forms better. Like they actually make a statement, I believe. Nappa and Vegeta talk about how like their superior control over their tails and their transformations are because of the fact that they're like the elites of their race. They've evolved beyond what like lower class Saiyans are. So I could see that maybe she could come up with something, but it would be a while. Like it would take some years of study. And if we're going to say like, oh, he studies the stork egg, stuff like that, the first time that Goku would probably get any use out of it would probably be against Vegeta in the Saiyan saga. And even then, I would probably say like Vegeta has so much more experience that he'd still wind up defeating Goku, because we have no idea whether or not the Kaioken would be compatible with an Ozaru form.
Also, one important point. I'm sorry. I will chime in for a moment because I will probably forget it in a second. Would Goku even want that?
I was just about to touch on that as well, because like you have to ask yourself, Goku comes to the realization that he turns into a monster, the monster that killed his own grandfather, and I feel like he wouldn't like the Great Ape form very much at all. Like,
yeah. That connection would be very, very. That'd be a lot to try and handle, I would say. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Nick. Podo is asking about the whole Grand Priest reaction to the never turned good Vegeta part of it. So basically, thanks very much, Podo, for the reminder. Yeah. But basically, it would be a case of like the Grand Priest reacts to never turned good Vegeta. It's like, oh, would you look at that? Oh, you're trying to start the Saiyan race now again, are you, Vegeta? Why, yes. I am trying to bring it and make it glorious once again. As well...
I have a better idea. I'm sending you to Universe 6. Bye.
Wait, what? Yeah, no, I think that would actually be somewhat valid. So Haverok makes a good point. I think ultimately, just to say with Universe 7 is like, well, no, the Saiyans had their chance here. You can go and try over there. Ta-ta. He would just transport Vegeta to Universe 6 and see how he fares. Yeah, transform those Saiyans.
I feel like what if Vegeta never turned good version Vegeta would hate the Universe 6 Saiyans so much.
That's the idea. I think that's what the idea is for the Grand Priest, because I get the feeling that he's a little bit of a trickster, that guy.
So, he's a big troll.
Yeah, I get that vibe. I get that vibe hard. But either way,
he would hate them as much as Bardock hated the pre-Saiyan purple guys from the weird special.
Alright, Super Michael 98, dumb round. What if Vegeta went for a colonoscopy? What if Goku became a teacher? And what if Yamcha went Ultra Instinct? Hey, I resent that about that. Goku would never become a teacher.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he can't teach at the best of times.
Speaking about colonoscopy, I don't like he probably goes because he knows his health is important, and it's important to check out stuff like this from time to time. So I'm pretty sure we don't know it, and we don't need to see it.
I mean, to be fair, we know that Goku sometimes has to go to the proctologist.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's like,
yeah,
and that's where Vegeta has a job as a proctologist.
And I mean, if we consider a martial art teacher, then Goku already kinda does that.
Kinda
for.
Yeah.
Unless you aren't related to him.
Yeah.
Or your name isn't Gohan.
True that. Okay. And then what if Yamcha became Ultra Instinct? Well, that would be the ultimate thing with deserves. That should have been the epilogue of the case of being reincarnated as Yamcha. That should have been the epilogue.
Yep.
Totally.
Agreed.
Anime Guy 01S. what if Bardock was reborn as Goten, with a birthmark on his cheek where his scar was? You know what? That would actually be kind of curious. That would also give some kind of, like, you know, Goten a bit more of a, you know, development in the future. Like, he ends up
That
being
time I
Bardock.
was reincarnated as my grandson.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I only thing I can see Goten as mini Bardock being as broody and harsh.
No, but every time, no, but once he's, but in
I'm glad you returned. I'm glad you returned from the other world. Come, Trunks, let's have some fun.
But then as soon as Resurrection F, Goten just shouts, Frieza! Frieza! Pretty much that. Like, it's like
PTSD.
And then Frieza would just go. I haven't even met this kid. What? he'd just be confused by this random kid who just so happens to look like Goku and has an odd-shaped scar would be screaming his name.
And like, you know, Chichi has her red dress and finds that somebody cut a fabric from it to make a bandana or something.
Yeah. Goten just has this compulsion to make a bandana.
He would be a little edgelord.
Oh, totally. JRC. Also, I saw Sophie's What If Krillin had a power-up. Loved it. Hope things are going well.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Cool. Additional kudos towards it.
Thank you so much.
Right. Nick Wolf. What if Iron Bulma used microband tech on a key-blind enemy, like Frieza? Making herself a smaller but strong target would be a big help, pun intended. Okay. So in terms of, like, focusing energy, yeah, decrease your size, but increase your density. That'd be kind of cool.
And Bulma.
Yeah. So basically with Bulma, she'd just be, like, this, like, Ant-Man. But just bringing in the Ant-Man powers in a way. That'd be just cool.
And Bulma.
Yeah, basically, to destroy Thanos, who needs Ant-Man when you've got Iron Bulma?
Yeah.
Punch out his sphincter, seriously.
Gosh.
God.
You know Bulma would do it. She was talking about trying to take out Jiro. That's exactly what Bulma would come up with in that situation. It'd be gross.
It totally is.
It would be gross, but in a way say, well, why don't you just do that? He wouldn't even know. Alright, Hannah Rowan. What if Suno and Upa were inspired to become Z Fighters? Well, with Upa, you basically would have what you have in Power Stone. Because you have the biggest Indian you've ever seen in that one. And for those of you who remember Power Stone, I appreciate you. Because it has the most blatant copy of a Super Saiyan ever. You thought the whole Supersonic thing was a bit iffy? Wang Tang in Power Stone. It's ridiculous how ripped off it is. But no, I think with Upa and Suno, I think Suno would be more kind of like Intel in a way. You know? Kind of like with Bulma. She worked with Bulma quite a bit. But I think she would try and train as well. You know, try and like get in with Goku. And with Upa, I feel like he could be useful. There'd be some kind of other kind of like powers in a way. That could be fun. Master Riku. A twist to the what if Gine went with Goku. What if Gine and Goku landed at Master Roshi's place? I'm sorry, I'm playing this. I'm going to expunge that from my memory. Because think about it. Okay, Roshi finds them. Roshi tries to take advantage of Gine. Gine punches Roshi. That would kill him. Because she's like 3 times stronger than him and he wasn't expecting it. He had his guard down. Yeah, no, basically, yeah, no, Roshi would be killed, pretty much. Roshi, he'd be toast.
Oh my god.
So, Goku would not learn... the turtle school would have been over, and then everything would have been doomed. There we go. Andrew Sobel. Do you plan on using your fan-made Super Saiyan 5 for your Radish GT series? It would seem the most appropriate if you don't want to resort to Ultra Instinct. Well, no. The thing is, though, with my what-ifs, I don't try and add fan powers unless there is some kind of grounded, like, logic to it that does exist in the main show. So with, like, the idea of fusing of, like, the Super Saiyan 4 Primal, which is, like, a mixture of blue and 4... Those are using powers that do exist and thinking about how they might gel together. But I feel like Super
Like
Saiyan...
with Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no,
Didn't mean
but
to
with
interrupt.
Super Saiyan 5, that's a fan-made thing. That's just my own slant, as well as Trev's design. You know, that's just kind of from my own point of view for that particular chestnut.
I kind of try to fit my stuff in the same way, you know, try to take existing stuff to kind of like say, hey, here are concepts that could synergize really well that are already present in the show / manga, and take a look at what I've created. So like when I came up with Kaio Henshin, it was literally just based upon the fact that like, hey, there are techniques that already exist that might be further developed to make these things better and let the humans have a way of keeping up.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So it's with all of our stuff that we try and do, we just always like to try and like keep it relatively grounded, because that means otherwise people, because I know with the whole Cell Turn Good Part 5 where he became absorbed with Deborah, people were getting a little bit, okay, this is steering a bit towards fanfic. And with Branch, for example, I know fully admit in Dragon Ball R&R episode 1, she does act like a little like Little Miss fanfiction. She does, very much so. But Haverok and I, we were just starting out, and she does have flaws, and we do explore them later on in the series. So we do make sure to do that. She backs off considerably. That was,
and you know the point is that you want to add something new.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
don't overdo it in a way.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to, you know, to add everything that you can in the what if, because that's just lazy what if. Like what ifs are already a pretty easy thing to do, so you need some sort of a challenge.
Yeah, precisely. So you don't want to kind of over egg the pudding, as it were. All right, Recon. What if, as his last act, Guru fused with Piccolo? Also, sorry about the what ifs with Piccolo. I love the Namekians. Recon, don't worry about it. Namekians need love. But okay.
Yeah, Namekians need a lot of love.
Well, I think in a way that fusing back in the day, you had to be the same clan in order to fuse. I think Kami was an exception because Piccolo and Kami were once the same person. They're just fusing back. So that was the exception to the rule. But I feel like if somehow Guru, thanks to his power and age, was able to do it, I feel like, in a way, you know, it could go one of two ways. You could either go the serious route, and you have Guru's wise knowledge and stuff like that, as well as the ability to make DragonBallZ, so you can have that from Piccolo. That might also actually make him then depart the Dragon Team. Like, he would say, I'm here to lead my people, in a way. That could see him depart, in a way. That could be a good way to end his arc, in a way, and something quite fulfilling. But then at the same time, you could go the silly route, and you just make Piccolo really obese, going, Gohan! Dodge! Like that kind of thing. You could go one of two ways. You could either go the very wholesome route, really putting on a satisfying end to Piccolo's time in the series, or you could just go the silly route, like Toriyama might do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Gohan! Nail just goes, welcome to my world. Alright.
Oh, next.
No. Dark Snake. What if Android 18 fell in love with Trunks in the future Trunks timeline? Oh!
She's into shorter men.
Oh! Yeah, no, basically... The only way I'm going to accept you, boy, is if you get down on your knees. It's like...
Oh.
I could see it becoming like a dating Catwoman dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, but the problem is that the problem really there is a bit of an age gap.
A bit.
And there is a bit of an issue of they murdered his best friend and mentor. You'd have to do a lot of like retconning to make it to where like 17 is the one who chose to kill Gohan, that they didn't do it together. You'd have to retcon a bit to where like maybe 18 is like dissatisfied with the fact that they keep just kind of like going buck wild all over the place, and maybe is like, you think we can maybe cool it for a little while, take a vacation, 2 years where we don't kill anybody maybe, and then like the way that I would frame it is if you wanted a scenario where 18 and Trunks find each other and like fall in love, is you would have to have 18 like go someplace to like get away from 17 for a while and meet Trunks while he's on his own. And it turns into this sort of like almost Romeo Juliet situation where they're like meeting each other in secret in order to like just talk and develop the friendship and stuff like that. And then the romance comes after they've become like these friends.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Basically, it needs to be something where that's the way it would have to operate, because otherwise it's just going to be a little bit tricky in that regard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Flipcakes. What if Kid Goku didn't crush Grandpa Gohan? Okay, well this is quite open and shut, really. With Grandpa Gohan, it would mean that Goku's education would be a little bit more complete, and also, I feel like he would eventually die of old age, probably around the time of the Android Saga, like in that 3-year time period. But I feel like he provides some like guidance for Goku. He wouldn't be as clueless about Bulma when she arrived and stuff like that. He'd be a bit more learned in a way, less dumb.
He would probably help around King Piccolo saga as well.
Yeah, probably. Super Spork. What if Chichi and Bulma train like Goku? So, okay, if they decided to train together. Oh, let me guess. Oh, there's going to be hot and steamy training sessions when they get real close and they have to touch each other in certain places. Oh, great. Yeah.
Wait. What? Wait, I must have lost net connection for a little moment there. What are we talking about?
That was sarcasm, Sophie. Don't worry about it. But basically, what if Chichi and Bulma train like Goku? I was putting on a bit of a sarky tone. So.
Okay, because I was confused.
No,
I was like,
okay,
what was the question?
No, I was putting my cynical hat on, but now we're putting the proper hat on. If they decided to train in a way, I feel like Chichi would be the one to guide Bulma in the basics of martial arts, because that's something I don't think she'd forget. I mean, Chichi doesn't have the need to know anymore, but it still is sort of there. She would pick it back up again relatively quickly. And I feel
well,
like
and she was good enough to train Goten.
Yeah, exactly. So I think things would start to, fall into place, and I think they could make moderate gains in the sense they could probably take out Roshi, and not for the sake of comedy, actually on a genuine fight.
I think they could probably take out a few Frieza soldiers around the time of Resurrection F.
True. That would actually be cool to see. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if Roshi was there and doing stuff, I mean, they could.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Nick,
that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Nick Wolf. Sorry, but this dumb image won't leave my brain. What if Android Saga Vegeta wore Bulma's bunny outfit thinking it was armor? What would future Trunks say?
Oh my god.
You know what? I can imagine Bulma doing this to screw with him. It's like, Earthwoman, what is this type of armor? Is this one of your other technologies? And then Bulma looks around the corner and just sees it, like the bunny girl outfit, and at first she goes like, Vegeta, that's clear. Yes, it is. You'll get way stronger than you would in your Saiyan armor. I seriously recommend that you wear it.
It makes you similar to one of the fiercest creatures on Earth, a rabbit. One of the strongest one we have was so strong that we had to put it on the moon.
Really? Well, if I want to be able to do something that you'd have to exile them to the moon, I must wear this thing. Future Trunks would just be like, he probably wouldn't say anything because not to annoy his dad. Not to annoy his dad, thinking that must be part of his training. I don't want to anger him right now. But there would be internal screaming. Okay. All right, Nick, that's given me a bit of a giggle, okay? Because I can imagine Bulma messing with Vegeta in that regard. Thunder Student now. What if Goku Black invaded the GT timeline instead of Future Trunks? With GT Goku, Trunks and Pan going back in time, ending up in Dragon Ball Super instead. If they invaded the GT timeline, well, in terms of powers, they might be slightly stronger initially. Like Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Goku Black in the initial time. I feel like, I think Goku Black would struggle a lot. but then he would also catch up pretty quickly as well. It would be an interesting way of incorporating GT if it was like that timeline. That way, if they had to erase everything, it wouldn't be as like much of a hammer blow as it was for Trunks' universe. Less investment in a way. Your AT. What if Yamcha became a Saiyan, like in your What If Krillin became one? And what if Yamcha was in the Red Ribbon Army? Okay, so that's 2. Well, oh no, Yamcha would find any way to exploit the Saiyan powers. Once he knew exactly how it worked, he would try and game that form so much that eventually his Zenkai would have diminishing returns far sooner than what Goku and Vegeta would ever have. And then Yamcha and the Red Ribbon Army. I feel like that would only be like that would be a way that Yamcha was abducted by Jiro, in a way, to try and like get close to Goku. In that way, like infiltration. So that would be the only way that he would be able to get in there, is if, you know, he was kidnapped. Recon. What if Earthworm Krill had his own show? I'd watch it. I'd buy that for $1.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. There'd be so much comedy. And there'd be just like him having like this constant thing with the commissioner, in a way. Making his way up the ranks.
Yep.
Louis, we haven't got to yours yet, but I do see it, so it will be coming up soon. Kiara Torian. What if Gine was training with King Kai when Goku got there, and he got his memories back when he saw her? Oh, okay. So if Gine had her body, there's no telling whether she actually would have her body, because I think all Saiyans, in a way, they don't get to keep their body. They'd be their soul.
It isn't enough to just simply not be bad. You actually have to have done great good deeds in order to earn that.
Yeah, basically saving your planet. Saving your planet or saving multiple people. Selflessly.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you have to do. So if Gine... The only thing I could imagine is if, like, one day, like, the soul cloud that was Gine somehow drifted to King Kai's planet, being, you know, drawn to it by someone. Yeah, by Goku, and just watching. And then Goku has this weird feeling that someone's watching. It'd be very wholesome in a way. Nick Wolf. What if Mystic Pyro Freak and Sarah Williams, the Yuffie and Tifa from FF7MA, voiced Fem Goku and Kuroda? Or Kuroda, like the child of Goku and Krillin. Also, congrats on truly revitalizing What If Piccolo Mars. Oh, you're welcome, Nick. Oh, you know what? I can totally imagine that happening with Pyro. Like Yuffie as Fem Goku. I can totally imagine that. You know, basically, what? Yeah, I had to hear Yuffie so much. It's just, yeah, Pyro's performance of Yuffie gives me life, certainly. Very, very good. And with Tifa as Kuroda, I can imagine the serious tones, certainly. So actually, I would be all for that. And I think I might actually, if we ever do a Fem Goku thing, I probably would actually approach Pyro about that. I think she'd do it. She would totally do it. Dark Snake. Hey Masako, I just wanted to know how long until the next Dragon Ball R&R comes out. Yes, we're getting very, very close towards having the majority of the artwork completed. So we are getting there. It's just we've had to deal with a lot of kind of like logistical nightmares in the background. But ultimately we have got things going to the point where I feel like hopefully we can have it out this month. If not, well, I'll be sure to let you guys know. And just let me see. You guys have proper warning and stuff. But yeah, I'll make sure to give proper guidance in that regard. Alright. Stephen Swinson. What if the Dragon Ball and corresponding Journey to the West characters switch places due to a poorly worded wish? Well, I feel like the basic premise would remain the same. You know, because it is basically the same. And Derek Padula actually made a good point, saying that when Bulma and Goku traveled to get Dragon Balls, they went westward, so it was a literal journey to the west.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. But I feel like it would just be a bit more spiritual in a way. So I feel like, you know, Bulma would be very, very scared with the fact there's just no technology. Yeah,
and they would fight literal gods from the very beginning. So
yeah, exactly.
It might not be as good for Goku as it was in the original.
Yeah.
Goku wouldn't be on that level yet.
Yeah, exactly. Sonic 16 Link. What if Frieza trained with Cooler instead of Togoma? Would he unlock the fifth form instead, or as well as Golden? I feel like he would probably get, he probably would just focus on his own power. Just because he wouldn't want to have the same power as Cooler. He'd want to have a better power. And then out of spite, he just wouldn't tell, Cooler how to get it.
I think it would be hard to hide. I think they both would get something out of it. Because it's kind of implied that the golden form is somehow customized by Frieza.
Yeah,
so
because he was there. That's for him to mock Super Saiyan in a way. That's what it was, basically.
So like they both would get power up that would work similarly. They probably would just make it look different.
Okay, Luis Reza. What if Raditz arrived when Gohan was an adult? I feel like if he arrived when he was an adult, I feel like there Gohan's power, Raditz would read it, that Scouter would blow up because it's a very old one. I feel like Raditz would have to be very careful to not get squashed, in a way.
Also, you have to, like, would that mean that, Z never happened? Because, androids, like, Jiro would still want to go for the revenge, but probably wouldn't have the Saiyan, and Frieza raised DNA, so Cell would be weaker, but look at androids, like, there's a lot of stuff here, because that would also give us the notion that, Vegeta wouldn't be there. Without Vegeta, there would be no Trunks, so, yeah, Raditz could arrive to a post-apocalyptic hellscape.
Yeah, exactly. It may not end. It may not be a good start in a way. Thunder Student now. What if Krillin has one for all? I feel like he would try that power out the first time, and then ultimately, when he realizes it completely nobbles it, he would have to have an access to sensu beans immediately, like a lot.
Well, you're assuming that Krillin gets it at an age at which he'd have the same problem that Izuku does.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not.
It completely, muddles it up.
But that's the thing, is that Krillin's been training in martial arts and physical abilities since childhood, much earlier than Izuku ever would. If he got one for all, he wouldn't have the same problems that Izuku does.
Okay, that's fair. I really do need to catch up on My Hero Academia. Now that season 4's over, I think I'm gonna actually sit down and watch through the rest of season 1. I've been saving it up so I can actually just stream right through it.
I need to binge it, and then I need to continue writing my Izumomo fanfic.
Cool. Nice. Nick Wolf. Inspired by Salad Saiyan's video today. What if Champa got Universe 7's Earth? Would Beerus be desperate enough to recruit Moro for the Tournament of Power? Oh, good question.
Yeah, yes.
He'd do it. He would do it because this is personal. I feel like because Beerus would have enough of power on Moro, but I feel like Moro would actually give him a scare. Like Beerus thinks, what's he going to do? I have God Key. You can't stop God Key. But I think that strength alone would still be enough to give him a fright.
Oh no! Like Moro would, feast to TOP. He would cooperate till TOP. He would probably say, "I cannot do Scottish accent," but he would basically do it because we obviously know that he has Scottish accent. That's our headcanon. He would go and propose to Beerus that he can take his minions out of the prison. Like 7-3 would be a good fighter in this.
Yeah, exactly.
And probably he would build. You can build a whole team for TOP just from Moro and his goons.
Yeah, exactly. And basically have Robbie Coltrane play Moro.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yes, we Goku, yeah, we beastie. I'm going to sap more of your energy. Something like
I'm gonna eat your planet, lad.
It's like, if you can change your fate, would ye? Just the Scottish accent is just so malevolent in that. For Moro, it would be perfect. You know, we need an actual Scottish. We need an actual actor who can do a Scottish accent well. Not me.
So like imagining Moro if he was played by Bill Nighy as what's his name? Davy Jones.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say that's pretty accurate. All right, EC Combs. What if Goku got that current virus that's going around in the Android saga? Okay, well, let's be real here. Considering that Philly and I have both pretty much had it, we both experienced this because we did travel to Spain a couple of weeks ago, so we did have it, sort of. I didn't really get anything except like a bit of a fever. Philly had the shortness of breath thing, but she's okay now. But basically, if that were the case, knowing Goku with the strong lungs from a Saiyan that needs to scream for at least 11 seconds at a time, I think he'd be fine. He might just go like, well, man, is it hot in here? Because it's hot. He'd have that hot bit, but I feel like he wouldn't really get that much of a problem.
It would be dangerous for Ox King, for, older people, and he will probably,
Roshi. Oh, God, Roshi.
Yeah.
Killian. Yes, David Tennant voicing Moro. Yes. Yes. We need to tweet at David Tennant. Hey, we need you to voice this guy. Oh no,
he may be a little bit too high pitched.
No, yo. Oh,
he can go low. He can go low.
And then when Moro gets younger in appearance, he can do it perfectly. Guys, I need you to go on Twitter and tweet at Sabat. I need you guys to tweet at Sabat and say, we need David Tennant for this guy, and put a picture of Moro.
Oh God. Yes, I'm down.
Yeah, so guys,
I'm down for this idea.
Go on Twitter, blast Sabat with this cast suggestion, and tell them I sent you. I don't often use my clout. I am using my clout on this day. We need
blame Masako.
Yes, I will take the blame. David Tennant needs to be Moro. There, said. All right, next thing. Ulvind Johansson. What if Goku started a new family after GT? Oh man, a family of dragons. Oh jeez. Like, yeah, if Goku just went off, like, oh, it's like the Dragon Ball equivalent of going out for milk.
And he starts new family with Shenron.
Yeah, it's like, Goku, honey, dinner's ready. It's like, it's your favorite.
No.
Oh my God, Muffins, how did you know? It's because I'm a dragon and I'm watching your every move, Goku. That's not creepy at all. It'd be a family of dragons in a way. Actually, you know what? Nova Nova Shenron. Like, Nova Shenron and Goku being good friends. That would be awesome to see.
They would be neighbors.
Oh no.
They would be neighbors.
Yeah. Master Riku. Odd twist. What if Queen Cassava was sent with Goku to Earth? Like, she caught Bardock trying to send Goku away without the royal family's assignment, and when trying to get Goku out, fell in and was sent with him to Earth. Now, for those of you who want some context, basically, Queen Cassava is our headcanon version from Bardock Convinced the Saiyans, basically being Vegeta's mother. So I think in that case, I think she would be very much in the case of trying to keep up the Saiyan legacy, just in terms of, like, memory and stuff. But other than that, I feel like she would basically take control of Goku and try and take over the planet. Or at least, try and at least forge some way to kind of, like, lay low and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I see. Play it safe for the moment, because as far as she's concerned, they're the only two Saiyans left.
She would go and get in the position of power, I think, and be the grey eminence behind King Fury.
Yeah, pretty much. Nick Wolf, also inspired by Silent Saiyan. What if future Piccolo fused with Kami after the virus sent Goku packing, not trusting Vegeta to defend the Earth? Okay. Well, this is sort of what we did with what if Piccolo fused early, but if Kamikolo happened, I feel like 20 would be toast, pretty much. Like, I don't think Piccolo would give him the time of day to try anything on. So I feel like, ultimately, that, I think the Android saga would be relatively short, in the sense that 17 and 18 would still be inside the lab, and then eventually when they find out ways to, like, they find out about the lab, they go there, they destroy Android 17 and 18, and pretty much just sew everything up absolutely majorly. So I think a lot of things would be sewn up relatively quickly, and the arc would be relatively short.
Yep.
Alright, Paparazza. What if Garlic Jr. was rebooted in Super as a fallen angel and wanted revenge on the GP instead of Kami? Interesting. Actually giving the Grand Prix some, like, a sense of rivalry. Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Yeah, so basically...
Because then it would also give them purpose beyond just, like, the whole Tournament of Power nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would actually... Yeah, exactly. That's actually a really cool idea.
You know what would be even better? If Garlic would be not only a former fallen angel, but a former Grand Prix candidate, like his brother or something.
Oh.
Yeah, like Garlic Senior was instead of being like a rival for the position of like Guardian of the Earth, he was a rival for the position of Grand Priest, like a Lucifer compared to Jesus sort of situation.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. Let's make a note of that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Which would make Garlic Jr. the Antichrist in this scenario.
Ooh. Oh my. All right. Okay. Chrome Bison is next. Crossover time. What if Izuku Midoriya's father was a Saiyan who knocked up Inko Midoriya? Would a half Saiyan Deku be too OP?
Oh gosh.
Going back to what we were talking about with Krillin. If with that Saiyan body, with one for all, it would certainly give him a bit more stamina. Not total, but more. But, Sophie, go on.
Oh, I was just going to comment on how it's oddly popular, this concept of Deku being a Saiyan hybrid and thus becoming like a Super Saiyan and stuff like that. It's one of those very, very, very common stories that I see a lot of on the fanfic websites.
I mean, it is certainly a very well-received one, but I feel like, in terms of stamina, I feel like this Deku would have a bit more of...
Well, yeah, if he was a Saiyan, if he was a Saiyan, the kinds of gains that he could make tutoring under All Might would give him way more ability to use One for All, and then after that point, it's a matter of like, oh, well, if he manages to learn Ki control... He would need to find somebody to train him in all those things, is one of the big things about it, is because, like, Goku learned how to manipulate Ki, not because he was a Saiyan, but because he learned from Master Roshi. Gohan learned to manipulate Ki, not because he was simply a Saiyan, but because he learned from Piccolo. So, you would need to find a teacher for Izuku in order to have him use any like Saiyan powers. Otherwise, he would just be a more powerful version of himself, pretty much.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. So that's good to clarify. Oh, Nick Wolf was talking about future Piccolo merge for future Kami and Mirai. Okay, in the future timeline. Okay, so if Piccolo fused for Kami, oh well, then that might have been enough to at least hold their own, or at least, stall for time. At the very least. Probably even be enough to stop them. But
yeah, maybe.
I would say, Nick, so thanks for the clarification, but basically it would just be like, I think pretty much that Clearan would survive. That's just Alright.
It would survive.
Alright. EC Cones, what if an albino Namekian survived? Well, I'd be very happy to see that. And I think they'd have the ability to rebuild. Since, Namekians can reproduce asexually. Just hatch some eggs. The albino shall rise again.
I mean the theory, now we that Krillin breathes through his skin. Maybe he really is an albino Namekian,
Yeah, an albino Namekian is far less far-fetched now we know Krillin's basically an Earthworm.
Yeah.
Now we know that, that's absolutely within the realms of reason. Todd Howard, what if Android 13 turned good? He'd be a trucker. Enough said. No, if he was a good guy, okay, let's be real here. Basically, say for example, you know, the Jiro's computer tries to fix him. He doesn't like it. He breaks his programming, and he basically overpowers the computer. So that means he can't turn him off. So I feel like that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the case.
I mean, jokes aside, I think that the tracker thing, like he would, the tracker job would be fitting for him because I see him as somebody who would like to travel.
Oh,
he would be tracker buddies with lunch. Imagine a tracker, adventure road show spin-off with lunch and Android 13.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that one.
Of them traveling through Arctic or something like this. Like a tundra.
Yup. Alright, okay. The Giver of L. What if every time Super Boo 8 absorbed a good guy, he got marginally more good? Well, I think that was the case in a way, because that was the idea. Because when Super Boo said, "Wait, if you take out that Marty's Boo, then I won't begin it. I will be totally evil." So that actually kind of is the case. It's just very minimalistic. It would be very, very small. But you
have to be an incredibly pure being like the Grand Supreme Kai was.
Yeah, to make a marked difference.
That's why the problem is that Goten and Trunks fused, because Gotenks would spoil, because if he only consumed Goten, then he would become a sweet cinnamon bun, because we know Goten is the purest.
Or even if it was Trunks on his own, he's still a good kid. But I feel like it would be much more there'd be much more like a chance for him to become good if he absorbed the kids separately.
Yeah.
Alright. Gizmo Hibiki? What if Zangia and Android 18 shared Krillin? Would they? Well, I mean, I can think of one person who would be very okay with this situation.
Polyamory!
I mean, like...
I'm not one to judge.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's...
In short,
not much to say, like...
There isn't much to say. Yeah, it's an opportunity to have a cat fight. Whoop-de-doo. There you go. They would fight over him. Paparacha. What if Toriyama forgot about the Saiyan race?
Oh no.
Oh no. Well then, I think his editors would be very much want to remind him, because Saiyans are profitable.
I think his wife would also, because his wallet would forget about them as well.
Yes. Well, having said
I think if he forgot about the Saiyan race, we'd have to play the sound.
Let's play the sound anyway. We haven't played it in a while. Mango Tree, don't worry. I see your what if coming up, so it's on the list. Don't worry. And just so you know, our cutoff is in 10 minutes time. 10 minutes. So if you want to get a what if in, you got 10 minutes. Alright, next up is Todd again. What if Goku was born in Universe 9 and was raised by the Trio de Danger? Oh, you know what? I feel like Bergamo would actually be a really cool teacher.
Yeah.
He's got that wild vibe, that strong tone. Yeah, Basil would be Lavender would be the weird one. But Basil would be like the one that Goku looks up to in terms of power. But Bergamo would be the one that he respects the most. You know what? I kind of want to see that. I actually kind of want to see that.
That would be a post-Apo Dragon Ball.
Also works well for an April Fool's version as well.
Oh, that is an option. That is very much an option. Let's write that down, because that could be good for next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Dark Snake. What if Gohan actually went to public school after the Namek arc? Well, I mean, he would have more social skills. There might be a chance that he bumped into Videl at a younger age. So that means you have the whole childhood friend dynamic. I mean, it is anime. It's totally okay to have the childhood friend trope and not be judged by it.
I think it would be even funnier if, like, if he didn't bump into Videl, but he bumped into Erasa and then became childhood friends with her.
Oh.
So that come high school, like when Videl starts to get into the picture, then you can have some high school drama that
great.
Gohan can experience.
And Toriyama's very good at writing that.
No, he's not. But we aren't Toriyama.
Yeah.
Touche. We are very much not Toriyama.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The giver of L again. What if Goku used Chi-Chi's tantrums to get her to train? Oh, okay. So basically, if Goku used reverse psychology. Wow. If Goku used reverse psychology, jeez. That would be very interesting to see. Basically, he says, "Alright, Chi-Chi, you win. I don't want you to help train." And that basically, Chi-Chi would be very surprised that Goku could be that lateral thinking. And I think she'd actually be impressed, not even mad, in that regard.
I mean, it's still, it's still a thing to consider if Gohan's rage boosts are part of his Saiyan nature or his human nature.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting thing to see where it all actually stems
I
from.
always thought that the rage boosts were kind of a genetic mutation of sorts. Like, for example, when you're dealing with breeding dogs and you have wolf dogs are actually far more aggressive than either wolves or dogs. And it's part of the genetic, the way that the genetics work. And so I always kind of just assumed that half Saiyans have that same kind of like mutation where they're far more prone to aggression than a pure-blooded Saiyan or a pure-blooded human would be.
This adds pretty well with Super Saiyan Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. That is very true. Gizmo Hibiki again. What if Goku was raised by Hercule instead? Well, the thing is, though, Goku and Hercule are very similar in terms of age.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like the mother. So basically, if they were brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they would
be...
If that were the case, I feel there'd be a much big resentment because Goku would be the younger brother, and yet he'd be the stronger one, and I don't think Hercule would like that at all. That'd be that.
It would really kind of depend, because I don't think that Hercule gained like the same degree of cowardice that he exhibits until he was already like older in life.
Well, no, according to what Toriyama said, and this is one thing I actually do like what he suggested, is that he basically learnt all those techniques from the dojo, the Satan dojo.
Mm-hmm.
That was part of the technique of like having a stomachache. That was a way to subdue your opponent. That's where he learnt it all. But I feel like if he went to the Satan dojo and all that kind of stuff, but then Goku went there as well, but he was strong enough anyway, I feel like that could build up a rivalry. It's an interesting one, I will say.
I feel like maybe Hercule wouldn't be as inclined to consider those techniques like viable, because I think Goku's the kind of personality who he would not hesitate to just outright tell the people in charge of the dojo, like,
that's
you
dumb.
Guys are doing this wrong. That's dumb.
That's
We're supposed to be fighting.
True. That is true. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's see. What's the next one? Paparacha. What if Roshi, Ox, and Gohan raised Goku and Chi-Chi together? Well, I mean, that's a lot of influence and a lot of, different, people to learn from, I will say. I'd say they'd have a very, they'd have a very profound kind of look on life, in a way. It'd be a bit muddled in a way. Their personalities would be a bit just a meshable three in a way.
I think that Gohan and Ox King together would be enough to keep Roshi at bay. So
yeah, and Tempest, just so you know, I have seen your chats. We will get to them. So just so you know. All right, Dark Cloud Alpha. What if Old Kai unlocked the power of one or more of the Z Fighters before the tournament of power? Well, the thing is though. They had 36 hours before the tournament, so that you'd only have time to unlock one. Question is, though, who?
Piccolo.
Yeah, okay, that'd be Piccolo. Ultimate Piccolo.
Come on, we all want to say it, and it would be. I think he could go to the levels, to at least, Majin Buu levels with that.
Yeah, I'd probably say that's about right.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty reasonable bet, I would say.
And Piccolo is patient enough to, to withstand
actually do it. Yeah, it'd be a walk in the park for him.
Yeah.
And I think Elder Kai would actually be quite put out with how easy he's taking it.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Belle Chloe, April Fool what if suggestion. What if Frieza actually was taken in by Universe 9? Okay, so what if Frieza became the god of destruction for Universe 9? Oh, I feel
interesting.
Oh, he'd go on a killing spree. Like the planet that the Trio de Danger are on, he basically says, no, we have to start all over again. All these planets are absolutely appalling.
Ro would be terrified of him.
Oh, Ro would do what he says. Like, Ro would not be sassy at all. I love it. It's great.
I feel like Frieza would make a horrible god of destruction for two major reasons. One, the extra power would seriously go to his head and make him majorly arrogant. And two,
totally.
he wouldn't actually be inclined to do his job, because what he would want to do is what he's already doing right now as a non-god of destruction. He'd want to gain power for himself. So, like, he'd be breaking the rules and, like, making himself an empire.
Well,
and
what do you think Beerus was doing? He was breaking the rules by shirking responsibility. So Beerus
exactly, and Beerus is not a good god of destruction.
He's not. So basically,
he's a good fighter, but a terrible god.
Yeah, exactly. So, Frieza's not exactly, unique in this situation.
The angels have poor taste in their gods of destruction.
And how?
Even them wanting Goku and Vegeta as potential gods of destruction is horrible taste.
And this was Whis' idea, and Whis is meant to be the smart one. That's the kicker of it all. That's the absolute kicker.
My headcanon for him wanting Goku is because Goku would be very easy to control.
Yeah, he would be.
And Beerus
he thinks.
And Beerus is also pretty easy to control.
Yes,
to be quite honest.
Quite true. That is quite true. I will give you that. All right. Next up is what if Super 17 turned good? So if there was a way that Super 17 actually decided to look, break his programming and actually become good, like the 17 from our world actually was able to take control, I feel like in a way he would try and sacrifice himself, or he would try and find some way to be able to kind of remove the negative hell energy from himself in that way, try and expunge it. Either way though, so Super 17's hot. I will say that. Yeah, he looks good. In order to turn Super 17 good, you must first turn Super 17's writing good. Yeah, you need to actually think that plot through.
Yeah, because it's so rough because you're dealing with so many weird discontinuity issues in that specific arc. There are just so many issues with discontinuity, and if I were to rewrite it, I figure I could probably make it a little bit easier to handle, and you could come up with a different concept for a Hellfighter 17 or something like that, or a Super 17.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you're gonna make 17 go bad, don't even link him to Jiro and Mew. Just have him go bad. Honestly, it would be a more emotionally taxing arc if 18, who is now a good guy, has to face the possibility of killing her brother because he's chosen to return to villainy.
Yes.
But of course, if it's a Super 17 turn good thing, honestly, Super 17 turn good isn't even all that super of a concept, just on account of the fact that it's Android 17. He's just gonna go back to ranging that park.
Yeah, he would do.
But he would change his name for Super Sweet 17.
No, Super Freak 17. Super Freak. Alright, okay, with that, the Super Chat submissions are now closed. So, thank you all, everybody, for your contributions. No more Super Chats, please, unless we have time at the end. But we'll let you know whether we do or not. So, try and, like, hold back on them, please. But, yeah, we're just, like, saying like that. We're not ending it just yet. We have still got quite a few to get through. So, just so you know. So, do stick around. We've got a lot to get through. Alright. Okay, next up is Mango Tree. Masako, my brother had this what if idea, but I can't find you talking about it anywhere. But what if Tora survived and picked up Goku from Earth? Tora? Like, Tora from DragonBallZ? Does it... Oh, Toma! Toma! That's it, Toma. So, like, the second in command of Bardock Squad.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So, in that case, I feel like he would be a very dependable and reliant father figure.
Yeah.
I feel like that would definitely be the case.
And we actually have been having this quite a few times. And what we said, like, if he or, you know, and another members of Bardock Squad were around to raise Goku, they would try to turn him to mini Bardock, sadly.
That would
he would be dependable.
Certainly.
Yeah, but they would want him to be another Bardock.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like compensating for the fact that Bardock doesn't exist anymore. It'd be tragic, but that's what they do. The Giver of L. What if DragonBallZ weapons were force multipliers, like in real life? Okay, so basically if they were force multipliers, like in terms of just concentrating the power that you have, well then Trunks' sword would actually have an actual use.
Yeah. It would be interesting because then you'd have more opportunities to showcase stuff other than just like, you know, punch face or fire beam.
Exactly.
But
yeah, exactly.
That's why
I came up with Ranch's Power Bow. Ranch's Power Bow could be like anything really. Not only does it make her look good, it also can, you know, it can chop up fools. That's multi-purpose. You're gonna have multi-purpose stuff, seriously.
Everybody do the chop.
Oh, speaking of which, I got the first prototype of the Ranch plush that we're working on.
Yeah.
So the super duper executive producers, if you go on patreon.com/MasakoX if you want to see it, they've seen it and it does look good for a first one. It's not looking bad. You guys will be able to buy the finished product, and I'll make a video in the next couple of months detailing what you can do. Because we've got to crowdfund this. We need to get 500 pledges of interest to do it. And unlike the DBZ 30th anniversary package, this is going to actually be good.
Oh.
Wow, Masako throwing some shade here.
Hey, well, come on. That was just poor. That Blu-ray pack. It's so poor. So poor. Anyway, not
agreed.
Paparacha, what if future Barbody margined Imperfect Cell? Oh man. Okay. Well, in terms of power already, Imperfect Cell's not that strong in comparison, nor does he have much potential because he is merely one component of a finish of an article. So there's not really much more headroom unless he was able to. He gets more power through biomass. So unless, you know, Imperfect Cell just went even more ham in terms of drinking people, I don't think it would really be more efficient unless it's just having Barbody under control.
Well, and I mean, you do got to remember, like, Barbody's power ultimately amplifies the evil, but there's no guarantee that the amplification is in and of itself enough.
or if it even would work on biomechanical beings. So that's consider.
Yeah. Well, and even if you wanted to say, like, you know, oh well, the magic amplifies the evil and stuff like that, then you have to ask yourself, okay, but is that amplification nearly as powerful as the boost that he receives from absorbing 17 and 18? And
probably not. Probably he would need to devour Earth's entire populace to get near to that level.
Yeah. Night of Chaos. What if Bulma was evil? Well, I suppose in a way, the only way that could realistically happen is if through some sort of, like, magical thing. Like, aside from Baby. Like, if Barbody, like, found a way to, like, think, that Earth girl seems to be very close to those fighters. Let's see if we can try and destabilize them. In that sense. It would be a way to try and infiltrate and then sap energy in that regard. Because Bulma could get really close.
I'm going to use my potato magic.
Yes, Barbody's wizard's powers are basically potato, in a way. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Callum Henderson.
Well, I mean, they're very versatile. You can boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
What's potatoes, precious? Callum, next. What if Krillin became the destroyer of Saiyans? Kills Raditz and Nappa with destructo discs and finish Vegeta with Yajirobe's sword? He'd be the MVP of that saga. Straight up. But,
yeah,
if he straight up killed Raditz, then Goku would still be alive. Nappa, that would just be just to scare Vegeta. And if he actually finishes Vegeta off with the sword, then Vegeta isn't there. I think there would be a massive awkward moment between him and Goku, because
hey, Goku, I kind of can I kill you? I kind of want to finish the quest for killing all the whole Saiyan race. Yeah. That's until Broly shows up.
Well, there you go.
Oh, no.
Pretty much that. All right, next up, Brother Roga. What if Masako wrote Chaozu's name with a Z? Yeah, I know. I did initially have that as the title. But at the same time, I'm a bit like, in terms of the analytics, the statistics, it actually shows up with the S version more. And of course, being a YouTuber, I want people to see the video that we make.
Moss is a slave to the system, guys.
I'm a slave to the metadata.
He can't fight against the algorithm.
Alas.
If it makes you guys feel better, when I write the script, I wrote Chaozu with a Z.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It was such a muddle. I tried to do what I do with Frieza and have both. It just didn't quite work. Yeah. Alright, the Giver of L. What if instead of transforming or fusing, Z fighters made new techniques to counter their enemies like Piccolo and Raditz? Well, granted, there'd be a lot of ones to remember, but at least there'd be variety instead of like, oh, they just used the special beam cannon, or oh, it's the Kamehameha again. How about that? There'd be that thing, oh, do you remember that arc where they showed that power? And it was like, whoa! It would make stories a bit more memorable.
Even more special beam cannon.
Yeah, extra special.
Beamier special beam cannon.
Super special. Awesome. Alright. Inner Kaioken says, given what we've seen in Master Roshi's insane growth in Super, what if during the in-between Z and Super timeline, Master Roshi had old Kai unlock his potential? Well, in a way, he probably would increase his, efficacy even more. Probably wouldn't give him that much super strength, but it would give him the ability to be able to kind of, like, hone it even more.
You need to remember that the biggest strength that Roshi has, which kinda, like, I got over that whole, Roshi dodging Jiren when I, read the explanation, kind of. The thing is that the biggest weapon Roshi has over most fighters, even the likes of Jiren, it's experience. And his strength comes out of predicting the moves of other fighters, really.
Yes, very much so. And that's pretty much the long and the short of it, really. Paparazzi is next. What if Jiro made basically the Borg instead of Cell?
Oh.
Haverok, take it away.
Well, play the sound.
Okay, let's just play the sound then.
If we had an enemy who could easily assimilate fighters, like if we have that Borg as character, right, and he could assimilate people. Let's say he wins against Trunks and Vegeta and assimilates them. That's the end of it.
Oh, so you mean so basically what this question is what if Jiro created Baby?
Yeah. Baby is basically like Borg. Like,
yeah, he's very, very similar in that regard because of the ability because that whole assimilation happens, and then he can also he's actually even a little bit better than the Borg because he can manipulate it to where they don't even realize that they're assimilated.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. So there you go. Kenshin's next. What if you could spend 5 years with Ranch? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that would be definitely an interesting one. But I feel like if I could, basically, I would just be that kind of like a guardian almost. Yeah, I feel like she's got a sensible head on her shoulders.
I would ask her to teach me. I would ask her to train me. And I'd ask her if I could do her hair. And if she'd want to hang out and go thrifting and stuff like that. And we'd be friends.
Yeah, I feel like she can gel well with most people. She's got a good read on people, unlike her mother. But she just that charisma that Raditz has, in a way. Just being able to get on with anyone. But yeah. Paparacha, what if Gohan and Baba were exes with a kid? Grandpa Gohan, by the way.
Because I was wondering.
I had to make the quantifier because I feel like Haverok was going to... Wait a minute. But basically, it would make the whole thing with Roshi awkward. It's like, you dated my sister and you left her. Now with a kid. It's like, then Uncle Roshi teaching their child the ways of the world.
Maybe that would make Roshi more respectful towards women, you know?
True. That is a fair point.
Oh no! I just
What?
Where do these concepts come from?
I don't know.
You guys have very good imaginations. I will say that certainly. All right.
Very active.
EC Cones is next. What if Trunks and Bra were twins? So, what would you say?
If Trunks and Bra were twins, there would be two major issues. One, it may be a little bit worse off just on account of the fact that Gohan would have to be dividing his training between two people in the future timeline. If we're assuming that the bad future timeline also has them as twins, right? So, Gohan's training would be divided amongst two people, which would probably see them make lesser gains, which means that one or more of them might wind up hurt. But even if they didn't, unfortunately, if we're going based off of the pre-retcon aspect of it, only one of them would be able to go to the past. If they still wound up sneaking in anyway, like one of them, Trunks or his twin in this case, I think what would wind up happening ultimately is that there wouldn't be all that much of a difference. The extra body doesn't mean much when the gap in power is as vast as it is, like during the Android timeline and stuff like that.
It would mean more. It would mean more. Sorry, during the Goku.
Yeah, basically that's it. Like during the Z portion of it, there probably wouldn't be nearly as much story as during like the Goku Black stuff. And depending on like how much you wanted to write the interactions between the characters and stuff, maybe you could write some interesting stuff about the relationship shared between Trunks and his sister and Gohan. Especially since, we didn't get to explore a lot of that during Z. We wound up having to explore it in Super instead, and it's like, it would have still been interesting.
It was unorthodox, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. Alright, Master Riku's next. What if Goku landed in Buckingham Palace? Okay, that's a new one.
I can't say. I am not British. Masako is British. He could tell you.
I live about 6 miles away from Buckingham Palace.
Well, you're practically living there.
Well, I feel like Goku would be a very interesting specimen, but I feel like also the Crown would like to have it, claim it for the British Empire, in a way. Claim Goku in that sense. I think.
Oh, so it's the British Empire again now, is it? They get one say, and then they think they can go back to imperialism.
He would be like, like Don.
Well,
he would be Her Majesty agent.
Well, when Queen Elizabeth was around, the British Empire still did exist. Barely. We remember the Suez Canal. That was not a good day. That was not a good time. We were great once. Post-imperialistic malaise, pretty much. All right.
Oh God.
Michael Pagan. What if the Great Saiyan had become the main focus of the Buu arc? Sorry if it's been asked, I'm new. Oh, don't worry, Michael. This is all good. These are where these bold ideas can go and thrive. But with the Great Saiyan, that would actually be a really cool idea. Like, in a way of, like, Gohan letting out his more eccentric side.
And Babidi being, like, that type of villain, sending his minions and, like, in a Super Sentai way, making them big and stuff.
Oh, yeah, Monster of the Day and Great Saiyan. Oh, that'd be actually kind of cool.
Like, Babidi fits for that kind of a villain, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Raziel Kantu. What if Goku never went Super Saiyan God during Battle of Gods and instead achieved Super Saiyan 4? How would it affect Super in general? Well, I think Super Saiyan 4 would still be plenty powerful, but I think that Beerus would still feel a bit left unfulfilled. Like, this isn't the power that he, prophesized. I mean, it's an interesting power and an interlude. It would buy time. But I think ultimately, Super Saiyan God would need to happen before Beerus would run out of patience.
There is a portion of the community that kind of wanted Super Saiyan 4 to be the Super Saiyan God transformation, just kind of like a retcon. And I think that might have been interesting, just because then we would have had to see, because we'd have seen Super Saiyan 4, i.e. this retcon Super Saiyan God. And then when they came up with the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan scenario, and they created Super Saiyan Blue, instead we'd have a blue Super Saiyan 4.
Well, we have seen weirder things in Dragon Ball nowadays.
I recently learned that Broly Dark is...
Todd Howard's up next. What if Cell was reincarnated like Oob? Well, we'd have someone called Lek. And I imagine he'd be a bit of a chauvinistic boy. The chauvinistic boy who thinks he's perfect about everything, and he'd be a bit of a show-off. He'd be a bit of a show-off with a very fantastic jawline. Even at birth, the doctors could not explain how a baby could have such a chiseled jawline like this. It breaks all the boundaries of medical science.
He would be basically Taka's evil twin, I think.
Exactly. I'd say. Kenshin 401. What are the biggest disagreements you guys had about what ifs? What if 17 joined the Z Fighters after the Cell Saga? Well, okay, let's answer that one first. The 17. I feel like if he did, he'd be a useful asset in the sense that Boo could not turn him into chocolate in a way because he is a machine primarily, and also wouldn't be able to sense him. So
and he would totally be good with kids.
Oh, totally.
Because we know that he has so he would be the cool uncle for Maron, but also Goten and Trunks.
Yes.
Weirdly enough, Trunks, but yeah, like they would consider him like, oh, Uncle 17 is so cool,
Yeah, totally.
Wouldn't 17 still have been able to be turned into food? Because I thought that 18 had been turned into food during the Buu saga.
Well, I feel like if he was able to, it would not be. It would not taste good.
I don't remember. Chad, do you remember that? Can you like we literally?
Because I thought that happened up on Kami's lookout. Because I know that he turns. I know that Buu turns one of them into an egg and stomps on him, and then I think he goes and he turns a bunch of other ones into food as well. But I can't remember. Either that or they died during the extinction attack.
Yeah. I think, if not the extinction attack, certainly. All right, next up is the biggest disagreements that Kenshin says. What's been the biggest disagreement that we've had?
Whew, let's see. Disagreements on what ifs. Well, for those few on Masako's channel that I've helped out with, he knows that I've had some disagreements with him where that goes, particularly when it comes to like the first drafts of certain what ifs, such as what if Goku was female, and what if Gine came to Earth with Goku. I remember really getting on him about not including Raditz in the first draft.
Yeah, and that is very true, but I feel like with Raditz's purpose, and we came to a compromise in the fact that I don't want to spoil it, but we have sorted out a compromise which I think works. I think it will work, but I don't want to spoil it.
I just count myself lucky that Masako appreciates my input at all.
Well, the whole point is that I'm
Sophie is very vocal about stuff.
Yeah, well,
I told Masako that if he ever wanted critique, like honest, blunt force critique, that I'd be willing, and he took me up on it.
Well, I appreciate honesty and stuff like that, and to learn. That's the whole point. Right? We are here to learn as creators, and
yeah.
Right.
Well, and we appreciate you, Mas.
Aww. Yeah. Alright, let's move on. Nick Wolf. Bardock reincarnated as Goten. You took everything from me, Frieza. I don't even know you, Bardock as Goten. You will! Yes, Goten reincarnated as Bardock.
Real quick, Moss. Did we get to Podo's $10 super chat? He's asking.
I've seen it in the list. It is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is there, Podo. We're gonna get to it.
Yeah, we've got a lot. That's why we did the cutoff. All right, Mike T54. What if Piccolo fused with all the Namekians on the planet during the Namek arc? Well, if he actually was able to do that, he'd break Frieza in two instantly.
Namekian savior at this point would be he would probably be able to break Imperfect Cell.
Yeah, easily, certainly, probably even.
Yeah, if you consider that at minimum there are 7 Namekian villages, one for each Dragon Ball, or rather 6 Namekian villages and Guru's place, which has Nail, right? If you take and assume that like the 3 fighters that exist at one village, that's about the average number of like warrior clan members that they have. Like you're dealing with 3 times 6 is 18 times 10 is 180 plus 40,000. It's like you'd have a pretty strong warrior, and that's not even considering like the multiplier that clearly occurs when Namekians fuse. Like, if all of the warrior clan members of Namek fused to defeat Frieza, like, Frieza would be toast.
Exactly. Easily. Killian Buckley. What if Cell, after blowing up, decides to give Gohan 7 years to get stronger, or when he returns to Earth, he will destroy Earth? Okay, so basically, if Cell decides to lie in wait, to, like, just wait for Gohan to get stronger and then jump him, that could be interesting. Like, that uncertain...
Bobby D could recruit him on the way, like, Dabura would give him a challenge.
True. That is very true.
And, the whole stone speed thing.
Margin Cell.
Yeah, and that whole stone speed thing is a very powerful counter against Cell.
Yeah, that is very true. That's cool to know.
Yeah.
Inner Kaioken's next. What if when King Piccolo wished for his youth in Dragon Ball, it restored Kami's as well? Ah, yes, we had this last week. I feel like Kami would then jump in to the fray and help out directly. He would pretty much like say, I think this is a special circumstance where I can come down to Earth and assist. Because he would have the power and he'd have the motivation to come back and help. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that would qualify as an opportunity where, like, yep, Guardian can step in.
Yeah, because if not, otherwise world's destroyed, so there'd be nothing left to guard.
My skin has never been so smooth.
Yeah. Tempest Martinez. Hey gang, today's my 23rd birthday. Well, happy birthday, Tempest.
Birthday.
Happy birthday!
Also
Such
glad
happy
to see
to you
Sophie's
on
back
this.
after her internet issue.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be back. I really love these streams.
Yeah. And then that said, what if Future Trunks mastered Grade 3 Super Saiyan? Okay, so he was able to actually get the power, and it was actually able to counter the speed boost. So basically, you don't get a speed boost from 2, but it doesn't make the same amount of speed you have for Grade 2. You just don't have the Grade 3 limiter. I feel like Perfect Cell, it would be a challenge, yes, but I feel like it wouldn't be enough to win. But it would certainly give Cell a really big run for his money.
Yeah.
Certainly wear him down a bit, where he would need those 10 days. He probably would turn the Cell Games thing into 2 weeks. He'd probably give him like 2 weeks to fully recover. Or to make sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. On the other hand, I'm glad this isn't a thing, because I always considered this to be quite dumb and not fitting the Trunks.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird for Trunks to have, but still, it was big buff screaming dudes getting buff. It's Dragon Ball. It's not inaccurate. That's true. Alright. Craig Twitchell. What if Dr. Gero survived the Android saga and was present in the Boo saga? Okay, if he somehow survived.
As a head on a spider legs.
Yes.
I think one of two scenarios can occur. Since his brain is still human, there's still the possibility that he could be manipulated by Babidi's magic.
Yeah.
So he might wind up joining the bad guys. However, if he does not, I think it would wind up becoming an enemy of my enemy scenario. Because after all, he wants to be able to not only advance humanity, but rule over them, right? Babidi and Majin Buu would get in the way of that. And I think what would wind up happening is, like, you could literally have him show up, yes, like a head on spider legs, and be like, "Look, I've got a proposition for you all."
I know we have our differences. Things have been said. Yeah.
I think he would offer. I think what he'd do is he would offer to give the human characters cyborg upgrades, the same as he did for 17 and 18, in order to fight the enemy threat.
He would probably try to backstab them at the end.
He'd try to backstab them, but Boma would have thought 2 steps ahead and taken care of that little scenario, and he'd be like,
my God.
"Oh,
this
mistakes were made."
Disabling his spider heads. That maybe sounds good. Can somebody help me? Maybe. I cannot move.
Or it'd be funny if Babidi was scared of spiders, so he would just do anything he said.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll do anything you want. Just pick a different body, please. You scare me so.
He would be like Proteus from the Mask series.
Oh, alright. Next up, we have Blake James. Morning, all. Is What If Videl went Super Saiyan God still being considered for the April Fool's What If? Honestly, Blake, right now, all options are on the table right now. I just need to try and find one which, comes to me.
Clicks. We have a lot of good ones, but we have few that really clicked with us, you know?
Yeah, we need to actually have some time to think about that. We'll probably sit down and... Because I need to hammer it down by the end of next week, certainly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But get it all done. Anyway. Master Riku, what if Sora visited the realm of Dragon Ball, Original and Super? Would Sora become a Saiyan or something else? I think we're talking about Kingdom Hearts Sora, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to be a Saiyan.
Yeah. I like Original Dragon Ball would be the best one during like Red Ribbon Army Saga or something like that. I think it would be
yeah, certainly be more interesting.
And to have like have Donald and Goofy like as Chiaotzu and Tien like characters.
That could be certainly quite bold.
And Sora would be like would have a turtle school gi for sure, but it would. Other than that, he would be looking kind of like Goku, but I don't think he would be a Saiyan.
He'd wind up with like the black, silver, and red color scheme on a turtle school gi, but he wouldn't change his race, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because he's already human, and humans exist in that universe. And as we've seen in most of the universes that I'm aware of, where humans exist, his species doesn't change.
Monsters Inc. is different, but it's easy to say why he isn't human. This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say. Nick Wolf. Since the Namek Saga Frieza can't sense ki, I figured Iron Bulma could exploit that by making herself a smaller and stronger target. Okay, similar to what we were talking about earlier. But I feel like I will get to that, and I think Bulma will find a way of being able to capitalize on that, certainly. Yeah, she'll find a way. Especially since probably the odds are she's probably going to end up with getting her potential unlocked. You know, and...
If she just had, two shapeshifters as friends,
yeah, very much true. Very much true. Tempest, hey Mars, a reminder of last week's what ifs. Tempest, could you type that down in tags? That means we can elaborate.
Yeah, we had something there was a question for Sophie last.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Yes. If you could just type that down and tag Sophie in it, we'll gladly answer it. Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mike T54. What if Cooler was canon and the Cole family actually worked together without hating each other? Well, they would be a formidable power, that's certainly. And I feel like Cooler would be... we've actually talked about this in the past. We feel like he would be a very good commander in that sense.
Yeah, he's not the Emperor type, he's more like the Commander type.
Yeah, he's a commander. He'd command, like, he'd be like the second in command, pretty much.
Essentially, like, when you have them, Frieza is the Emperor, King Cole is the Grey Eminence, and Cooler is the Commander.
Yeah, exactly. That is straight up what we would, say is the case. Okay. Next up, Blake James again. What if the Frost Demons were running multiple coexisting empires? Frieza, Cooler, even a Universe 7 Frost, each with their own, competing to be Cole's successor. That would actually be cool as well, in the sense of, like, who gets to have the keys to the kingdom? You have to go out on your own, with obviously a little bit of help from the start, and then see how much you can control. That would actually be a cool, like, mini story in a way.
I mean, I think that was the idea going behind originally before the movie, retcon, which kind of established that Frieza was pretty young when he got the Empire, that he seems more like a hatchling, and I think that was the original idea. I'm pretty sure that's the idea in the kind of the idea of in the original Cooler movie. That he has not the whole empire, but he has
competing
a portion of
sibling,
it. Portion of it, yeah.
Like, he has the ability, he has some kind of control over people. Yeah, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Alright, next up, what if, from Recon, what if Boo turned evil Boo into chocolate? Well, I think we pretty much would just have the regular Boo back again. If he was able to power evil Boo, he'd just be, sorry, Boo just a bad thing hang out. Like, it would be just like, he let it fall out like he exposed himself or something. And then, like, it would be just like, but then everyone would be living in fear, saying, oh god, it could happen again. Like, it would have that kind of peril almost. Certainly. Mike T. Everything okay, Have?
Yeah, I was just grumbling stupid pink blob.
Oh. Oh, stupid pink blob, okay. Mike T54. What if Saiyan tails didn't randomly disappear? Well, the thing is, though, they don't disappear per se. They just kind of, like, they get cut off very early with age. And it's never really been confirmed about Goten and Trunks whether they were even born with them, or whether they were cut off after birth. We tend to think they were cut off after birth, because if Gohan could have them, then
Bulma doesn't have one.
No, Bulma doesn't have one, period. So I think she's more Bulma than Vegeta, in that sense. More human than Saiyan.
It could also just be that with a crossbreed like this, since they are a hybrid, that there is a genetic potential to be born without a tail.
True.
And like you would need some other method by which to actually cause the tail to grow. Like, for example, the blood swave cannon or something.
Okay. No, that is perfectly valid. That is a perfectly valid scenario, I will say. Next up, let's see, is Squibbleball. I like that name. What if Jiro acquired DNA from Beerus? Oh my.
Oh my.
So if he was able to acquire DNA from Beerus, that is if gods have DNA, which technically they would, because Beerus is an organic being, just bestowed with immortality.
The thing is, though, like, would he even be able to make such a clone stable? Because we remember what happened with Bio Broly and...
but see, Bio Broly only became the way he was because immediately after breaking out, he broke a bunch of other chemicals that splashed onto him and turned him into a goop monster.
He got melted by external elements.
True. I mean, go on.
Well, what I was going to say is that you also have to kind of ask yourself another question: is the genetics really important when it comes to the whole God of Destruction thing? Because even though he can use chi, even though he can use God ki in this situation, only one sample, the life energy in and of itself is going to diminish to the point that I figure that the God ki wouldn't remain in it. So all you would wind up is with a race that had the same level of potential that Beerus had before he became a God of Destruction, which is not necessarily negligible, but we have no way of knowing if it would be God of Destruction potential just through cloning.
Yeah, I just also realized that, like, God is more like a spiritual energy of sorts, so it might not be, like there are hints that this Poe might be a member of the race, that they are cat and rabbit-like people, like this is another type. And certainly all three of them that we've seen are quite strong, but we don't know how powerful that hybrid is. I totally agree with
you. Okay. Alright, let's see. Right. Next up is Kenshin 491 again. And we are going with what if Jiro could better control 17? Well, in that case, he would actually have something efficient, but it'd be a question of, like, why 17 and not 18 as well? Maybe it's for the fact that if 17 toes the line, and 18 will just roll with it, maybe? Either way, I feel like it would be something quite curious in how that would develop. So, I feel like, really, in a way, it would just, you'd get History of Trunks, because 17 would just do what the Doctor says. He would do what the Doctor ordered. I would certainly say. Pyro Jack Daniel. Not sure if these were asked, but piggybacking on Vegito being fused permanently, what if the dance was also permanent and taking cues from Super Broly? What if Broly's moon power applies to all Saiyans? So basically almost kind of like retconning the whole Uzaru thing to make it in a raffle form. It'd be a bit more interesting, it'd be a bit more fresh, but the Uzaru is really iconic, so it'd be a bit of a shame to lose it. But in terms of the dance was also permanent, well, Gogeta... but with Gotenks, you'd have Gotenks forever. Oh no. No. I'm playing the sound because that's tragic. I'm sorry, that's just too tragic to think of. Ooh.
They would probably defuse them with DragonBallZ now that we can't know that, like...
Tragic.
Yeah.
Tempest posted that his question from last week was, would you think my OC, Sunto, would get along with Ranch? And I would say, and this is because I helped him when he wanted to rework parts of the character. And I would say, from what I read of your character, I think that he absolutely would get along with Ranch. I think that they'd get along pretty swimmingly. And I honestly think that when it came right down to it, if he was hanging out with Pan as much as he does in your in your alternate universe, right? Your fic.
Yeah.
That he would probably be viewed as basically like one of the family, and he'd want to learn from Ranch, and also like do the same things that Pan does as well, like with training with Ranch, hanging out with Ranch, being friends. Like Ranch is like. I'm trying to remember now. Would that make Ranch Pan's cousin or aunt or
I think
some?
aunt,
I
pretty
don't know.
much. I think it's aunt.
But like, yeah, and like, Ranch is definitely like Pan's favorite aunt.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good relationship. I think that they would like hanging out with each other.
Cool. All right. Nice. All right. Poto's next. Just curious. What do you think of each of your most frequent super chatters? And are you able to form any impressions of what we're probably like based on our past comments and super chats? Well, undoubtedly so. I mean, you guys really help with like keeping the channel going in a time where it's all really tumultuous and you're not quite sure where things are going in a way. So having that extra help is really appreciated, as well as some really cool ideas, which makes the what ifs actually feel really special. That they all feel like, it's a community-based idea that we all just want to go like, we want to come up with really cool ideas about our favorite show or one of our favorite shows. So it'd be like,
yeah,
it'd be.
I mean, guys, the whole Kuriza thing wouldn't be a thing if you guys didn't request it.
Exactly. That is exactly it. You guys wanted Kuriza and you got it, and we came up with a really good script. I was really proud of that. It was really good. But yeah, it's always nice to hear it. So with Paparazza and you, Podo, it's just, you always go, hey, it's those guys. It's like, oh, it's good to hear about them again. So there you go. But yeah, once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah, seriously, like, it's super good and super thoughtful of you all.
It really
and we
is.
love interacting with you all like this.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Bell Chloe's next. What if Frieza was trained to be a god of destruction? Well, considering how low the bar is with Beerus, I feel like he would be slightly better than Beerus, because at least Frieza has charisma to be able to get away with stuff, to talk his way out of something. Whereas Beerus wouldn't, and it would actually just reflect how bad Beerus is as a GOD.
I mean, it depends. It depends which period of Frieza. I would say post-TOP Frieza could be a better. It could be an improvement. Before, oh no.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think post TOP, it would give him some direction, certainly. But it would also it would just put Beerus's incompetence into sharp relief. And it would just like go like, oh wow, like like what? How would we even like just go with it? So, oh no, we just rolled it away.
Real quick, Ice King 688 asks if we've answered his what if yet.
Ice King 668.
See whether or not it's a super chat, because I don't know if it's a super chat or not.
So. We didn't get it as a super chat. We still got some to get through, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we've got a large backlog. So if you asked a question but it wasn't a super chat, there's a very likely possibility we will not get to it today. So
yeah, because we are going over 2 hours, so we need to kind of speed things up a bit. All right. So Blake James next. To expand, would Universe 7 have a higher mortal level with multiple empires of varying stars existing peacefully and rapidly expanding across the galaxy? Short answer, yes. Very much yes. That was the whole idea about why the mortal level was so low. Because there weren't enough civilizations. Because they were either destroyed by Beerus for not having subpar cooking in his eyes, or Frieza conquered them and basically homogenized them. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is the mortal level actually requires a decent number of mortals in order to work.
Yeah, exactly. And ones that actually are, prosperous.
Yep.
Yep. That's why Belmont is doing so good, and other GODs hate him because he discovered this easy way to keep his mortal level high.
Just have
Click here to learn.
Have Pride Troopers. Boom.
Yeah. Click here to discover.
Exactly. So there you go. Thunder Students next. What if Universe 6 and 7 merged? Well, if they merged, I feel like it would ultimately bring up the overall mortal level more. Because, you know, they weren't great initially. And I feel like with so few civilizations in Universe 7, there'd be plenty of room.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, it would work out well for both of them in the long run. But it would feel unusual in a way as well.
When you consider the kind of like apparent like shenanigans that caused Universe 7 to have such a low mortal level to begin with, like when you consider the fact that like there's not very many habitable worlds left, that they don't have prosperous races and all this other kind of stuff, you'd think that Shin would be a little more proactive and be like, yep, yeah, you know what that means? I need to start making some of these worlds better and making some life on these worlds better and doing some work, because that's what you're supposed to do when you're the god of a universe.
Yeah, it would have to make him step up, undoubtedly so.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. Oh, Ice King 688. Oh no, he did. Sorry about that. I didn't see his...
We found your super chat, Ice King.
His tag did not show up. It's now refreshed itself. He's got an April Fool's idea. Alright. The converse of what if Hercule trained like Goku? What if Goku trained like Hercule? Oh, man.
Oh, no. Play the sound.
Man.
Play the sound.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, basically, he just make excuses.
That's a good one for a lightning round.
That's good for a lightning round. Let's save that for a lightning round. But in short, Goku would just make excuses for everything, and the entire... I'm playing the sound. Alright, Nick Wolf's back again. I meant future... Oh, we did the elaboration. Okay, that's what we got. We got that. We already covered that. That's good. Hannah Rowan's next. What if there was a galactic civil war in the fallout of Frieza and Cold's death in the 3 years before the androids and Earth was caught in the middle? You know what? That actually seems plausible for that to have happened. You know, a massive power vacuum. You know.
Isn't that how Tacoma was gathering forces anyway?
I think so.
Yeah, like Tagoma has, like, I think he mentioned something. Gather.
Yeah, there was Sorbet and Tagoma. Yeah, basically they were just like.
Sorbet, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So basically, it's something that does seem very plausible in that regard.
Yep.
But yeah, there we go. Super Spork, thank you very much for your super chat. Nick Wolf again said, "What if your Gine met Bardock and Cassava's kid?" Awkward. Yeah. Oh man.
Whew.
That would be super orcs. That would be really, really awkward to deal with.
Would be though with how the Saiyan society work.
Yeah, but I feel like Gine would have a bit more of a connection and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like
Gine might feel a little bit of pain, but she'd also recognize that culturally it's not exactly unacceptable for Bardock to have children with another woman.
Yeah,
so
I mean, she wouldn't be like devastated. She'd understand, but she wouldn't like it. She wouldn't like it at all. It's just, yeah. But why would you do that to Gine? Come on.
She suffered enough. Leave her alone.
Right? She's already dead inside.
And outside, because she's dead.
Oof.
Oh gosh.
Just like Nappa's modeling career here.
Oh, jeez. Alright, okay. Next up is Gohan is underrated. Do you think Goten and Trunks would still do fusion even in their teens and adulthood? Yeah.
Yes.
You see it in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. You see adult Gotenks. And adult Gotenks looks cool. And I really hope that he's much more mellow as an adult. Yeah. Auto Johnny, what if Goku landed in My Hero Academia? Okay, I think this is the time for the quote. I'm gonna be the greenest Goku ever! There you go. He'd be the greenest Goku ever. There you go. I think that would definitely be the case.
Screw you, Dekorot.
God, you have such a deep character. You know that would be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Master Riku. What if every time Frieza used his planet's destruction power, he had to recharge it before using it again? Well, considering that he only blows up one planet at a time, it wouldn't really affect him in a way. Unless he just basically used that. It would depend on how long it takes to charge. 4 minutes. Well then, basically, if that were the case, then that would really put Frieza in a bind, because he'd have to use that power. He'd have to get it right.
I'm sorry, but I need to share with you guys the mental image I just like of Frieza flying around, the galaxy and singing due to the tune of Yakko's, Nations of World, singing
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Yeah, singing all the names of the planet, blowing them up as soon as it says the name. I don't know why.
Oh gosh!
But this question brought this to my mind.
I mean,
and Namek and Yarrat.
Yeah, but see, the problem is that we don't actually have 50 populated planets. Thank you, Shin.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Like, oh my god. Yeah. Shin, why were you so rubbish? Anyway, Kenshin's again. What if characters showed up from the future instead of Trunks? Well, okay, yes, we fully know. But basically, yeah, that is something I do improve with. And in all future what ifs that we do like to try and, veer away from the Trunks model if we can.
Yeah, if
it calls for it, we change it. That is pretty much what we do. We just try and do that just to kind of instill a bit more kind of diversity in that regard.
Yeah.
So there we go. Driver's line. What if Android 13 was Brian Fury from Tekken? Oh man, if that were the case, then he'd be basically Berserker type thing. Something a bit more kind of like unpredictable. That would have had a lot more interesting peril in that sense. So I think that could be very interesting to happen. Wouldn't you guys say?
It's been ages since I played Tekken, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I haven't played Tekken since, does the fact that Heihachi was in Soul Calibur 2 qualify?
And I mostly played Yoshimitsu, so yeah.
I'm more familiar with Yoshimitsu just because he's present in the Soul Calibur series as well.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, yeah, our knowledge needs work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Work.
How dare we call ourselves anime fans?
Yeah, we're scrubs. We're total scrubs. All right. Okay. Next up, we have Dark Prince Revan. What if Nam raised Goku instead of Grandpa Gohan? Oh, well, Goku would be more spiritual, that's for a start. They just had to figure out the water drought problem. But, any thoughts, guys?
I think, again...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Nam might have problems with raising Goku if he didn't hit his head. Like, he would be a really troublesome child from the get-go due to Saiyan nature. And even assuming that that he would hit his head, it would be a loving, father-son relationship, but a pretty, I think Nam would be, I would say, disappointed in Goku, in his bluntness,
Yeah, I kind of agree with Haverok, and it's always a little bit difficult to figure how Goku's development would go if he's placed in a situation where he doesn't hit his head, because it shaped so much of his personality, because it was able to reset him back down to like a blank slate, right?
Right.
If you put him in a situation where he hasn't hit his head, it makes it that much harder for him to learn to be like a good person. instead of just like a fearsome Bardock 2.0. And so while there's a possibility that Nam's training could lead to a more spiritual Goku, without the head hitting, like Goku may very well grow up into like a rebel, maybe even a villain, and that could just spell bad news for the world.
Yeah, again, Nam would have to really knuckle down to try and make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah. Kenshin again, what if 18 and 17 were switch places for fun? So 18 was the more fun-loving one, and 17 was the serious one. To be honest, the way that they look, the both personalities actually fit. So honestly, there wouldn't be much difference. It would just be like, you know, instead of going to a clothes shop, 17 finds an arcade, for example. Yeah, not saying girls don't like games, but at that time, in the early 90s, you know, that would be the stereotype.
That would be the stereotype.
That was the stereotype at the time. Just saying.
Yeah.
It was the style at the time.
Which was the style at the time? Exactly.
It is the rhythm of the night.
Oh, night. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Exactly. So there you go. Paparazzo, you brought up Barber X Gohan last week. I just added the kid. Also, Goku meeting his uncle aunt when he meets Grandma Barber. Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, of course you did. Sorry about that. Well, basically, it would be very surreal. Like, Roshi would technically be related to Goku, in a way. That would be very, very weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Goku still considers him family anyway.
Yeah, but now even more
universe.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly something.
Yeah.
Vulcan, April Fool's idea. What if Chichi was a Saiyan? What if Master Roshi trained Bardock? What if Goku married Tsuno? Is Timebreaker Gohan possible? Timebreaker Gohan.
I'm still curious.
We have talked about that earlier, as well as Goku married.
Yeah.
Is this a meme? Is this a meme?
This has got to be. This has got to be something that. This has got to be something that someone else has done already, and people are asking us about it because it's like, what is Timebreaker Gohan in this regard? Why does Tsuno being his mom lead to Timebreaker Gohan?
I have no idea, but it's like it is a real noodle scratcher, I will say.
Yeah, seriously. But those are good ideas
They are
for what ifs.
Exactly. They are something that does get people intrigued. So that does sound very cool. All right. What if Master Roshi trained Bardock? I don't know how he'd be able to train Bardock or what he could do, but
Bardock could go around Earth earlier in the history.
True.
Like, much earlier.
Alright, that is very true. Then is what if Chi-Chi was a Saiyan? Again, I think we've talked about this before, in the sense that she'd have a better understanding about what makes Goku tick. So in terms of the relationship, it would make things so much more, gelling.
Yeah, it would become a much more equal relationship, but there would also be the issue of whether or not Goku would or Gohan, their child, would eventually have the same degree of potential, considering the fact that mixed canon concept is that hybrids tend to be stronger. So
yeah, no, that's very much true. Vulcan's got more. What if Piccolo fused with Guru? We have done that, but basically it would go two ways. You could either go the funny way, or you could go the very serious way with Piccolo ending up basically becoming the guardian of Namek. So you got that. And then what if Chi-Chi was a fighter? Thoughts on this?
If
she was a fighter, Gohan would have a much better time about it. Yeah.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that she was. It's just a matter of her staying a fighter is the real thing.
Like
but
keeping it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see her eventually being like, I could see her being along the same lines as a Tien, Yamcha, Krillin sort of situation. But considering the fact that even they stayed fighters for a longer period of time, considering the fact that even they lost relevance as time went on, at least in the canon, she would still probably wind up losing some relevance later on. It would take a lot in order to to figure out a way to bring her up to speed. And the best ways of doing that would probably be things like what I introduced with Kaioshin, or even just what Masako introduced with the Breakfast Club of Combat and all of those guys knowing Kaioken.
Yeah, exactly. So you'd have to find other ways of trying to bring her back in, which actually would gel well, almost. Alright, okay. Next up, we have... Okay, so last one is the OC Maniac. Hi, just saying that also might not be able to come back to you guys anytime soon, since all my cash is going into COVID prep for the next month. The OC Maniac, don't worry about that. You focus on you, dude.
Yeah, especially considering the kinds of scares that are going on right now with COVID. You don't want to you don't want to underestimate that. Keep your guys' self healthy. Also, some information that you might not have realized, but if you're going to use like hand sanitizer to try and keep yourself clean, make sure that it's above 60% concentration, because any less than that is ineffective against viruses such as COVID.
Exactly. And also, please just like use common sense.
Yeah.
Use common sense and
do not ignore it, but also do not panic. Like
exactly, because
and if you can stay, stay in home. If you can work from home, do it. Do not risk it. But on the other hand, it's not the end of the world, and probably most of you, even if you catch it, it's not that bad for you if you don't have serious health issues. But
I mean, again, I can point out myself as Philly and I've actually most likely had it already.
Yeah, but parents and grandparents are,
of course,
and people with serious health issues are those that we should be concerned. So it's not bad that you contracted for yourself, but for your surroundings. So don't be selfish about this. It's like, not that mindset. It won't hurt me, so I don't need to worry. But like the problem isn't that it is that deadly. It's that it spreads very, very fast.
It's more
we know.
It's more along the lines of just be careful and don't let them. Honestly, I basically use this website, pretty much, to get my news on it, because it's numbers, it's statistics, and all that kind of stuff. And when you look at it, more people have recovered than there are active cases.
So yeah, that's your today PSA from your favorite What If trio.
I look at numbers. I look at numbers because remember, with Goku with the heart virus, I should know. So long as the vaccine that they make isn't grape flavored, then I'm okay with it. But again,
bacon flavor.
Yay! Okay, on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for being part of it. So.
Thank you too.
Until Saturday, guys, that'll be our next video, which is What If Krillin Became a Saiyan Part 4. So tune in for then, and we shall see you guys very soon. Alright, take care, everybody.